Pokemon looking dude pointing a gun at me.
God, no.
Like, start the stream now. Bam, bam, bam.
And I knew that, obviously, you know, it's spoilers for what Carl might be talking about. But, you know, at this point, you know, you've seen it on the thumbnail. And the moment you mentioned...
seen that episode, right?
No, never seen it. And the moment you mentioned the episode, I knew that I wanted that to be on the thumbnail. But I thought, because it's a banned episode, that it would be too difficult to find like a big enough picture for it. But luckily,
of course, someone got the Japanese version uploaded to YouTube in 4K.
Just like some hero managed to upscale that shit enough for me to use it.
It's like those people, isn't it? Like on Twitter, fuck it, here's just Minions 4. Just the full movie in HD. It's like, what are you gonna do, Elon?
I can't remember what movie it was that I saw recently but I love it. Then every now and then, like, they haven't quite cottoned on to people doing it on TikTok yet, but just, oh, someone's live streaming like a movie that came out 3 days ago entirely full on TikTok.
They're just in the cinema.
Yeah. Oh, but yes. Welcome to the Wiki Weekdays podcast. I'm your host for this week, Lucas Holland. And as always, it brings me a great pleasure to introduce my co-host for the week, Karl Smallwood.
Yeah, I'm just out taking a big sip of water. You can tell we used to work in restaurants, can't you? The moment you see that water go to my lips, like, make Karl say something, make Karl say something.
Yeah. It's the classic of
the
moment someone takes a big bite of their burger, you like swoop in, so how's your food, everyone?
And here's the thing, I'd do it on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
I would do it on purpose, it's funny, right?
Not to clarify, when I say that, I always like think people might think that I'm trying to like not get an answer out of people and run away before they can complain. It's like, I just find it a little bit funny to make people do that.
Yeah.
Like, so, every now and then.
Spent all day. When you work in service, so much of your time is spent just bored out of your skull. You make up your own games to have fun, right? One of which is of just, okay, I'm going to go over to the customer right at the moment taking a bite out of their burger because it's probably the only time today I'm going to laugh.
Yeah, and it's one of those classic things of not doing it in a mean way would never be, like, you know, horrible about it. It's just that little, like, funny moment where they have to squirm a little bit, but I'd always make sure that I actually wait and hear back from people and stuff and get actual feedback.
I do indeed. But Lucas, we've got an intro to do.
Well, we have an intro to do, but also someone's right on it. And our nice, lovely £5 super chat from Stephen Harris. They're saying you're the best people ever. So thank you very much.
We're going to buy with your £2.50.
And Dan Daniel, the $10. I think that's Australian $10, maybe.
I've got to do math in my head. Okay,
yeah.
So
hey guys, the Milky. Well, Karl, you got to let me read the comment, Karl.
Okay, you read the comments. I want to work out how much it is so we can figure out how much you've got to spend.
Just as Daniel with a third super chat saying, "Hey guys, the Milky Bars are on me." So thank you very much. And just like literally today, I was harassing like Karl and a couple other friends like, hey, there's like these nice Smash Bros posters on Etsy. Do you want to like buy one? Do you want to buy one? It's like we could split delivery costs. So, you know, those super chats might help my argument a little bit.
Yeah, so the Australian dollar is worth £0.51 sterling. So that's about £5 British sterling, give or take. So, Lucas, what are you going to spend your £5
on? Convincing you to buy a Smash Bros poster with me.
Okay, I'm tempted, but I think I'm going to spend my £5 on beer.
I mean, nice.
It's always that way. There's something so satisfying about this drink is free and was paid for by fans.
It's true, yeah.
It's like always the classic, right? Of like, I'd never want anyone to donate any more money than just getting myself a pint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. And we appreciate if people do, but we would never ask. And of course, that leads me into something of asking people for money, because we do have a new announcement for the channel. We are announcing that we're adding memberships to the channel. So that members can just pay to get ad-free versions of our new content. Starting this coming weekend, if you remember, you can pay to like have ad-free versions of our videos available. As far as I'm aware, because we haven't activated the membership, it's hard for me to tell right now, but as far as I'm aware, looking at the options, I can't easily just do that to all previous videos. We seemingly have to upload 2 versions of every single video, so it should just be content coming out going forward. That's available as an option, but if that changes, or if I do find an option to make it available, like, you know, ad-free for members and available, you know, with ads for non-members on the same video. I could update all the old videos, but as far as I'm aware, there's not an option to do that.
Because why would it be easy, right? So the only alternative will be to upload. And I think we did check this recently, right? Because we were confused, like, do we have every like Wiki Weekends video saved so far? And I think so far, between us, we do have an archive of every Wiki Weekends video except for like
I think there's like one.
He died.
Sorry?
Right?
Yeah.
When your died.
When my like SSD died, I think there was like one finished video on there that I hadn't transferred to my other separate like external hard drive that I keep my archives on. So I think there's one video that we don't have,
which you could download from the channel, but it'd be in a lesser quality. But so far, we do have near enough every Wiki Weekends video saved somewhere in HD to 4K quality.
And
essentially, we could re-upload a bunch of them for members or whatever, but
we'll have to see how.
The longer the channel goes on. Yeah, the longer the channel goes on, the more of a ball ache that is.
Yeah.
Imagine I've got the Fact Fiend, because I've still got the Fact Fiend archives. I've not been through them yet.
1,000-something videos on there.
One day, I plan to just create a 24-hour-long supercut of like 100 Fact Fiend videos and just put it on, what is it now? Which are those like lo-fi hip-hop beats? And we call it lo-fi Fact Fiend beats to learn and sleep to or something like that. But I need a laptop for that because you basically need a server that will constantly be playing that video.
Exactly, yeah.
So when I get a new computer or upgrade my PC, I'll put like the parts into a shell and I'll use that to create the server so I can have like just a 24-hour Fact Fiend live stream.
And also, Chicken on a Raft comes in with a €5 super chat as well, saying buy the damn poster, Carl.
I guess we have to now, right? So I guess what you could do, Luke, is in the midsection when we like do our housekeeping, we'll have to in mind. Go track down those posters and just say this is what we're gonna get.
Yeah, maybe
now, right? So I won't get a beer. I'll get the poster.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll have it on my wall. I'll put it up there. It'll be next to Renoa and Squall and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, because it was just one of those of like I came across like a video of like, hey, I've finished this collection of Smash Bros posters that I've been working on, and just like here's my Etsy store. So I clicked on the Etsy store, and it's like, oh, they're in the US. Like delivery's a bit of a pain. So thank you, everyone.
But like me, you, and a friend Charlie are like, oh, if we get like a joint order, they come instead of being 30 quid each, they're like 15 quid each. We can justify that. So I guess now we have to, right?
We do, yeah.
You can go track down that store and put a link to that person's store.
Exactly, yeah. Give them a little shout out.
Yeah. So it was in the process of getting us a promotion because I ordered some like single Pokemon cards and they never arrived. And then like 2 weeks later they did. And it's like some seller on eBay. And I told them, well, I feel bad that you refunded my money and I got the product. Do you want me to do a plug? I don't like doing this, but I do have a YouTube channel. It's got like 30,000 subs. And they never messaged me back.
Oh. Like, you know what, fuck you.
Yeah, I offered them like, some free advertising. They didn't want it, and it's like I feel bad. But I don't want to do the thing of mentioning them without their permission.
Exactly, yes.
Because even though you think, well, you're mentioning someone right in a positive sense who'd be mad about that, just it's never like as someone who occasionally goes viral, it's not a happy day when you suddenly go, why have I got 20 notifications? But when you open up social media and it's like, why have I got 15 DMs? That's never a good feeling.
It's always like, oh, fuck, what have I done?
What did I do?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why advertising is something that, like, when I don't like promoting stuff that we're not either in collaboration with the person to do, or it's not like a huge thing, like a TV show. So I dropped my lid. But, do the intro, Lucas.
Yeah, no, sorry. So going back to just the membership thing, we will just have one tier, I think, like, because obviously it's done in UK currency, it's like £2.99. I don't know what it translates to, but YouTube will let you know when we put the memberships up, I'm sure.
But didn't YouTube as well say if you do this, we'll give you like $400?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to clarify, is we've talked about it in the past and even discussed it like privately in the Discord, like the community Discord before, of like, hey, we could try out like having the members have ad-free video versions. Would people want that or not? And we've discussed it. But then YouTube was like, hey, we'll give you some bonus money if you do it right now before like September something. And also for the first like 100 members that you get, we'll give you extra money on top of like what they pay. So if, what you want to become a member at the end of this month, start of next month, then that will, every first 100 every membership in the first 100 will give us an extra, I think it was like £8 just to support the channel and stuff. So it's like, one of those of, even if you technically are only paying a few quid, you're actually getting us like extra money on top of that to help support the channel.
There's also the thing of like, it is never, as someone who used to run a very successful YouTube channel and actively worked against the algorithm at every step of the way, it's not a good idea to do that. So when like YouTube's like, hey, we'll give you money if you turn this feature on, and we don't have to do anything with it, me and Lucas decided like, we should probably turn it on just so that our channel doesn't get like farted down the algorithm.
If nothing else, yeah, because even if it's a feature that not too many people will use because they'd rather pay for YouTube Premium, which, yes, we get like paid for when you watch via YouTube Premium.
YouTube Premium as well is probably the better deal. I would recommend getting YouTube Premium over anything else, because at least then you get YouTube. Every content creator you watch then gets a higher percentage of the money they would for a watch time thing.
That's not true.
Is it not?
No, it's about the same as
YouTube doesn't tell you.
Yeah, the people have figured out that it's about the same as a view, but it's not that, well, I'm not watching ads, therefore the channel doesn't get any money. The channel still gets about the same as they would from a regular view.
I'll still never forget when there was that person who was like yelling at me for like half an hour when I told them like, hey, if you skip ads, we don't get money. And they couldn't understand why skipping ads didn't get the content creator money.
It's like, because the advertisement space is what we're getting paid to show off, essentially.
In their head, they're like, but if I watch the video, doesn't that get you money? Doesn't YouTube pay you for having people watch the video? It's like, why would they pay you for watching the video?
Yeah.
They don't care if you watch it if there's not an advertisement in front of your eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. So again, we like 100% understand if people would rather pay for YouTube Premium and not be a member. We were discussing whether that's an option we should put up, and then YouTube were like, do you want some bonus money right now to do it? And clearly that's a thing that, again, they're pushing and trying to get everyone to activate. So we might as well, so that we just, even if nothing else, we don't get like fucked over by the algorithm, because they're like...
Also as well, yeah, it's just real nice that the big company, rather than being like, hey, fuck you, is actually giving us something. Because like, most of the time when like there's an algorithm change or a big company change, like when Twitch says, oh, he's going to charge people more money for their Twitch subs, and then your Twitch subs just die.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, we're going to do this, fuck you. The fact that YouTube's like, hey, first taste is free. It's like, oh, at least they're giving us free drugs.
Yeah. At least they're giving us something for it, right? Normally it's us...
Yeah, but they're wearing socks.
It's like us scrambling to just do whatever we think YouTube wants us to do for free and just trying to figure it out. At least this time they're like, hey, here's what you need to do to, like, be in our good books, and we'll give you some money for it.
Like I say, it's like they're squeezing our balls but wearing a silk glove.
Oh, God. So, Carl, which wiki won last week?
I don't know, because you're the one who has all this information.
I do have this information.
I know the two wikis that were competing against one another. So which wiki won this week is a little game we play with our audience of, when you listen to this podcast, after you've done listening to it, go check out our Discord found below. And a couple of days after this goes live, we'll put a little poll in there to ask people which wiki you felt inspired the best discussions. It's not necessarily which wiki was on the subject you are most interested in, but which wiki inspired the discussion that you were most intrigued by. And last week, Lucas brought along Peter Molyneux, and I countered Peter Molyneux with...
Well, you brought along The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, which is mostly just us talking about the Joker, but which one?
Well, it was a very close race. At one point, it was literally tied.
Ooh.
So, and that was like quite far into the votes as well. It was a close one, but Batman beat the shit out of Peter at the end of the day.
Thing is, Peter Molyneux will be such a good Riddler, right? Because he never tells the truth. Imagine like the Batman trying to like decipher just Peter Molyneux's riddles.
He's like trying to figure out whether the new Masters of Albion game is or isn't in the Fable universe, and he's like, what?
You just cut to Batman doing like, I'm the world's greatest detective, and I can't figure this the fuck out. How was that not a joke we made last week?
I know.
How did we not make that joke last week? we should change the title to that one, right? Let's like even like Batman couldn't solve Peter Molyneux's riddle.
He didn't know. He can't. He still to this day like can't figure out what was inside the cube.
No one can.
No one can. Like, just lies. That's what was in there, Carl.
This cube.
Just fucking lies.
So many lies.
Also, something that people will know is that we've recently been doing for the podcast each week a pet of the week, where everyone who's a patron on our Discord can submit pictures of their pets and just win pet of the week. And luckily, we've got another pet of the week because people are using that feature.
It's my favourite time of day, like in regards to work, is when I get to go check the Discord, and I was go pet of the week. It was like 5 new dog pictures, and I'm like, yeah. This is why I became a content creator.
Exactly, yeah. And it's nice to see people posting in there and using it. Like, there would be nothing more depressing than opening it up one week and there's just no pet of the week.
The best bit as well is people have got the memo of, don't post like the glamour shot of your dog. Post like joy when it's like halfway through falling off the sofa. But there's a good mix of like just dumb photos of pets, but also like the glamour shots of like look at my good girl.
And you mentioned dogs, but the winner this week is not a dog.
It's not. I can see it's some kind of lizard. Do you know what kind of lizard that is? I don't know lizards.
They did post the pet of the week, which is Buddy the Beardy. So I presume
Buddy the bearded dragon.
It's a bearded dragon, I would presume, yes.
So I'm believe I've got a pet tarantula, because I don't like tarantulas, but I think a couple of weeks ago I saw this guy's like, he's got a pet tarantula. It's like, are you okay there, buddy? And it's the tarantula stood on its tiptoes, so it's like really tall. I was like, wait, tarantulas do that? And it actually looks kind of cute.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think tarantulas are cute. I'm not sure, like...
All the spiders, tarantulas are the ones that I don't mind, because they move very slowly, and they're furry.
I'm not sure how much I would like one on me.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't want one near me.
But in like a, in some encased environment that I can look at them and just find them cute, I think they're very cute, but I'm not sure I could handle like one crawling on me.
I think I could have one in my hands because again, they're furry, and I could probably but huntsman or any of those ones that are super like fuck that. But there is something cute about tarantulas. I can appreciate as well the beauty of a tarantula because like they look simultaneously so threatening but so delicate, and the fact they're really nervous as well, and they like constantly clean because they're very skittish, shy creatures does endear me to them somewhat. But then it's like huntsman spiders are fucking just nightmare monsters from hell, and I hate them.
And I believe
it's like stood like that. It's like, you okay there, buddy?
Yeah, I believe that Eric in chat is the one who submitted Buddy. So congrats.
There we go, Buddy the Beardy. Just well done. Well done for bringing
a recent addition to the family, apparently. So looking very cute. I'm really glad that for once that we get to have a pet of the week that isn't just a dog or a cat. I don't want people to think that they're the only animals that could win.
Yeah, but also as well, if someone out there's got like an exotic pet, I might not be happy with that because sometimes you hear about those exotic, like something like a sugar glider or something. It's like, oh no.
I mean, sugar gliders I know are legal in some places.
They probably shouldn't be though, right?
I mean, I don't really know specifics, but yeah, it is one of those things. Of like, it obviously, like, if someone posts like, "Hey, I've got like a Siberian tiger as a pet," I might be like, "Oh no."
If just Joe Exotic joins our group, I'll be well. That's a wiki we need to do one day.
Oh god, yeah, it is. Yeah,
not Joe Exotic, but Tiger King, because that was a trip.
That was an acid trip. I think like they've just recently, the same like documentary team have just released one about a woman who's obsessed with chimps or something.
Oh, chimps! Why would you do that with the? Why?
Like, I don't know the exact details, so I can't. I'm talking about out of my ass right now, but I saw something about like a new documentary dropping similar to Tiger King.
I would just be like, no, chimps are terrifying.
Yeah, and we are streaming this episode live, so if you're in the live chat, just if you want to, then give us a like and help people find the podcast while we are live. And obviously, as you've already seen, any super chats that arrive in chat, we will make sure that we read out your comment as long as it's not anything explicitly horrible or anything. Yeah. But you can pay us to say a lot of things, but not everything. But yes, remember to just...
He's creeping me the fuck out. I'm on like spiders looking for that one.
Stop looking at spiders, Carl. We're doing a podcast.
No, it's just like some of them are cute, but then there's like the ones of like, hey, look, what's the fuck's this thing outside my house? It's like, I don't like it. Get it away.
God, I heard that apparently there's been a resurgence of a spider in the UK that's as big as rats because they were like becoming endangered, and obviously I was about to say conservatives. That's not the right word. It's not the Tories, like the conservationists were trying
I'd
to
rather have
obviously
one of
help
them
the
one.
spiders, and it's like, but why did you save the rat-sized spiders? That's terrifying. Oh dear, but speaking of rat-sized spiders, if you're watching later on YouTube, then be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And remember, you can find us on podcast services by searching for the Wiki Weekdays podcast. But Karl, what wiki have you brought? Karl.
Yeah, I can't find the tarantula.
I'm doing the intro
like I said,
into your wiki. What's your wiki?
So my wiki this week, as people probably tell from the thumbnail for this one, it is Pokemon themed, but it's specifically about Pokemon episodes removed from rotation. That's the name of the wiki entry I'll be referring to from here on out. And Lucas, I'm going to just play a game with you now. And I'd like everyone at home to join in if they feel like it, which is I'm going to go through this list of episodes that are removed from air or rotation or just no longer available for viewing in some parts of the world and just ask, do you think it would fly today? Because, times and sensibilities have changed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and
there's a couple of famous banned episodes, right? Like the one with the gun is the most famous one. I think that today we might get away with that. If they marketed it as like a teen anime as opposed to a thing for little children.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I think because it was like specifically aimed at like small children, it
literally aims. The guy's pulling a gun at the camera,
right? Like at a 10-year-old Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we would probably get away with that with the amount of like crazy bullshit you see in anime and stuff.
I think as well, if they did what they did with the, do you remember Spider-Man, the 90s cartoon where they just gave all the police officers laser guns?
Oh yeah, I never questioned it as a child.
As well, kids never notice that, but if you actually go back, folks at home, and just look at any clip from that, what is it now? Spider-Man 90s cartoon. You'll see that all the police officers use fucking laser guns.
And you're just like, well, yeah, cool. I'm a kid. I'm not going to question this.
Well, that's one of the things that they had to do because it's like we can't have the cops having realistic-looking guns and attacking people. But if you just give them like a weird laser gun, that's fine. So I think if Pokemon did that, they'd probably get away with that episode, to be fair. But that's not the one we're covering. Right? What we'll be covering first is just the intro to give us all an overview of what we're talking about. So, Pokemon is an anime television series that originally debuted in Japan on April 1st, 1997. Throughout its run of over 1,200 episodes, that's a lot of Pokemon. Specific episodes have been unaired or pulled from rerun rotation in certain territories, while others have been altered or entirely banned, some of which include racial stereotyping, such as Jinx, and the characters appearing in blackface. And just right away, please don't defend blackface.
No, of course
don't say
not.
It's a cultural thing in Japan. It's like, even the companies making this shit realize that it doesn't travel well.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, the edgy 2000s sitcoms and stuff, like 30 Rock got an episode banned, or they removed an episode where they did blackface.
Yeah, like Tina Fey willingly removed 3 episodes, but it's really funny with 30 Rock because Tina Fey was like asked about all these different comedies and sitcoms removing episodes because people were taking offense. She's like, I think it's really cowardly of creators to not stand by their work. And then 2 weeks later, she just removed 3 episodes of 30 Rock because they were wearing yellow face.
And 1,200 episodes is currently more than One Piece.
There's a lot of Pokemon. Pokemon's it's a cultural juggernaut. But he mentions that notably, the globally banned episode, Den-O Senshi Porygon, which only aired once on Japan's TV Tokyo on December 16, 1997, features a series of rapidly alternating red and blue frames that provoked epileptic seizures in hundreds of children.
And that
will be never getting aired again, right?
I've seen people nowadays saying, actually, that was all completely false, and people made it up, and it's like...
It's reported on. There's news reports and hospital admissions.
Like, there is no way that there are hundreds of people lying about this, and like news reports, and the fact that they removed the episode permanently.
What has been exaggerated, though, is people saying they heard about it. Do you like that thing, like the telephone game of history?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's given rise to myths. Like, there's people said, "Oh, I saw a version of it on like American TV one time."
Didn't.
That's bullshit. It was aired once. and there are hospital admissions and news reports, and the Pokemon company itself was at risk of being shut the fuck down.
Or
They
Porygon.
almost had to stop doing Pokemon.
Just a little polygonal duck. It didn't want to do any harm.
That's
Now
the
it's got
problem
such a bad rap.
Because I love Porygon. I think Porygon's a great Pokemon. Digital Duck. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
That episode was just super banned, and that will probably never come back.
And also, Carl, before we move on, we have
Yes.
another super chat from Stand with
got on it.
Admin.
I feel like a real content creator getting all this money.
I know, yeah.
Showering me with like praise and adoration.
A $20 super chat from Stand with Admin. So thank you very much. And they say, so glad to catch you guys live. Far away, Carl, and far away, Lucas. Cheers from across the pond. Hope you all have a wonderful day and stream, sending good vibes your way. So thank you for that.
We need the good vibes because we're talking about some
Banned
bands.
Digiducks.
And the first episode banned was episode 18, and it's called Beauty and the Beach. And this, besides the gun episode, might be the most infamous banned episode. And Lucas, from the name Beauty and the Beach, can you hazard a guess at why?
I think I know which one this is. This is where James appears as... Oh, James becomes essentially a woman for a swimsuit competition, right? And has like actual breasts.
I've sent you the you've almost got it right, Lucas, but I've sent you the image. I know you got to like quit out of this stream to view it, but if you wanted to grab it and put it on stream for people to see, I can describe it now. So Beauty and the Beach is the 18th episode of the first season. It is the first episode to be skipped by 4Kids Entertainment upon the original American broadcast of the series until the year 2000. On June 24th, 2000, an English language version of the episode was aired on Kids WB as Beauty and the Beach. So that just shows already, within 3 years, sensibilities had changed enough and Pokemon had become enough of a cultural behemoth where this minor controversy was able to be overlooked. But in this episode, the female characters all enter a beauty contest. Team Rocket also enters, with James donning a suit with inflatable breasts. One scene of the episode involved James showing off his large artificial breasts for humorous effect, taunting Misty by saying, maybe one day, when you're older, you'll have a chest like this.
Fucking
in
hell.
One scene, he buffed his breasts up to twice their original size. When it was dubbed and aired in 2000, all scenes of James in a bikini were edited out.
I mean,
There were a number of other sexualized scenes, such as one in which Ash and Brock are stunned at the sight of Misty in a bikini, and one in which an older man appears to be attracted to her, which is just that thing of Misty's 14.
Yeah, like I didn't know that about the episode. I saw the image of like James with the boobs.
James having massive tits, right? And it's the thing is though, James is killing it.
Yeah, like that's
James
fine.
So good.
But then to make a wildly, like fucking wildly inappropriate comment to Misty.
Yes.
Fucking
and
Christ.
Is that like one of the worst things about being like a fan of anime?
Yeah.
And, is presumably like there's like the master. I think the character that I fucking hate, and they seem to be so common in shonen anime. It was that little dipshit with the grey head. Mineta. Whatever the fuck that trope is, stop putting it in.
Yeah,
it is the cringiest, most just. Oh, I can't recommend this to my normie friends.
And obviously, it's a bit more tame, but even Pokemon has a character like that in Brock.
In Brock, yeah, and it's kind of okay with Brock because Brock is leering after people his own age. And it kind of makes sense. He's like 15 years old and he's leering after like Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny, who are like around his age, if not a bit older.
But, I mean, it's a little bit not as bad because, like, in things like One Piece and My Hero and stuff, they have characters where they literally like spy on women who are naked or like grope them and stuff. Whereas Brock is like asking people out on dates.
With Brock, it's more innocent flirtation, right? It's like Joe. It's like a little kid. See, like Joe, like I don't know, like an older friend of like a brother or something like that who you've got a crush on, and you can't really, what's the word? Ironically enough, you can't express those feelings or verbalize what you feel. So it just comes across as just like, she's cute and I like her, but I don't know how. I don't know how to express that.
Yeah,
like, it's still weird, but it's more innocent than whatever the fuck Minata is doing.
Yeah, and obviously they generally have characters like. In One Piece, they have Nami, and in Pokemon, they have Misty, where it's like a woman in the group who like beats the shit out of them for being inappropriate, but it still doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, it's that thing of like, we're going to do it and then hang a lampshade on it, but it's like you still did it. And like, I think Minata's the worst one because every female character on My Hero Academia just has like a 10 on 10 money design. And it makes me feel awkward for liking them. When Minata's there, like, oh, look at those titties. It's like, I'm not looking at it, it's just a cool design.
It's just a cool design, yeah.
It's like, what was it, Midnight Lady or Mount Lady?
Mm-hmm.
He's just like leering over a giant arsehole, and it's like, but she's got a really strong character design.
Yeah.
Why do you keep doing this? Oh, it's frustrating, right? But he mentions here that
I'm going to remove James's inflatable boobs now because I think everyone's got the point.
Everyone's got the point, yeah. So it mentions that all Japanese text on signs remains intact in this episode, as opposed to other first season episodes in which it was digitally replaced with English text. So they just like hastily just edited the episode and didn't even bother changing the Japanese text. However, the removal of this episode from rotation in English-speaking countries does create continuity issues, because this is the episode where, chronologically, Misty and Brock meet Gary and Delia. Well, however, during Japanese reruns of Hypno's Nap Time on Kids Station, the flashback was changed to Pokemon I Choose You.
And I'm sure it was going to bring it up anyway, but that happens a few times, right? Because I'm pretty sure the gun episode was the episode with the Tauros that get captured by Ash, and then because it's caught, Ash just got 30 Tauros out of nowhere.
Yeah, so The Legend of Mini Ryu. That's episode 35. The Legend of Mini Ryu is the second episode to be skipped by 4Kids Entertainment and the first episode that never aired in any dubbed format. This episode was banned in almost every single country outside of Japan, largely due to the frequent use of firearms throughout it. In particular, one scene involves Safari Warden Cassia pointing a revolver at Ash and asking if he wants to get shot. And I think that's the bit where it's like, you can't have that on kids' TV.
You can't do that.
If you just had a gun, that's one thing.
But pointing it at a child and asking if he wants to die.
Yeah. So you want to die, child? The absence leads to several continuity issues. In particular, the fact that Ash catches 29 Tauros in the episode, with the 30th coming from Brock's use of one of his Safari Balls. The Tauros appear in later episodes and are commonly used by Ash, and only one episode alludes to where they come from. And that's the thing is, the episode's really fun as well, because every time Ash sees a rare Pokemon, he throws a Pokeball at it and he accidentally catches a Tauros. Well, the Tauros keeps running in the way.
Yeah, and just... We didn't get to see that, but I've seen like a clip of it, clipped out for just the memes and stuff. But yeah, just the fact that in like the next episode or a couple of episodes later or whatever, just on screen was Professor Oak just like, "Hi Ash, I've got all your Tauros in the like backfield of my lab. They're doing great."
In my head, though, as a kid, it's always just Ash was doing shit off screen. In between episodes, he's catching every Pokemon he sees. So, Joe, when you watch, like, I forget what it's called now, but they did, like, Pokemon Origins, I think it was, with Red, and they just truncate his story down into, like, 3 episodes. And they just show, like, the montage of him just catching every single fucking Pokemon, and it just smash cuts to him having, like, a Snorlax.
Yeah.
And that's, I do like that episode. Like, that mini-series is really fun.
Pokemon Origins was really cool, and they had, like, the fucking mega anime villain boss fight at the end with Mega Charizard versus Mewtwo.
The thing is, I love Red. And it annoys me so much that Red hasn't become like the Sephiroth of Pokemon. Whenever like a Final Fantasy game or spin-off and it's like, oh, is Sephiroth going to turn up? The fact that Red isn't just the ultimate final boss of every Pokemon game.
Well, I really enjoyed the fact that in Sun and Moon,
yes,
it was Red and Blue both are the champions of the battle tree.
Yeah, they even said like legendary trainers from far off lands will show up, and like Red and Blue turn up. It makes the world feel more alive, and I also just like the idea that Red just never stopped fucking training
because he's 10 years older or something in that game. Yeah. But they are aged up characters at that point.
And I always felt like he should always be the optional super boss in like every Pokemon game.
Oh, like the fucking in the Gen 5 games where you just go into a house. It's like, why is Cynthia here?
Yeah, like, and Cynthia and Red and, like, all the other, like, notable gym leads, like Lance and stuff, could randomly just rock up and be like, I've heard there's a strong trainer in this region, I've come to beat their ass. Except for Red should only say one thing, and that thing is just ellipses. My favourite ellipses with an exclamation point, where he's silent aggressively. My God, Red should be in everything, he's so good. So I've got like my favourite shit post is from that, where it's like the screenshot of like Blue in the hospital, And Red asks him, like, what happened? And does Professor Oak, like, someone edits over, like, he rode his bike indoors. I told you not to. Anyway, the next episode is arguably the most famous banned episode. So we've done all 3 of the most famous ones that have been banned in a row. It is, of course, Den Senshi Porygon.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Because there's a 4th one that I'm thinking of being very famously banned as well, which I'm sure we'll get to.
But it's not as famously banned over here, because I did believe it did air in the UK, so we may have seen it, but...
I think I did watch the episode as a kid, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. So, Den Senshi Porygon, translated as Cyber Soldier Porygon or Electric Soldier Porygon, aired only once on TV Tokyo on December 16th, 1997. Towards the end of the episode, in a scene where Pikachu uses a destructive thunderbolt to stop a missile, an explosion causes red and blue flashes rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just, The Simpsons made a joke about this of like fighting seizure robots. It's like, did you intentionally create just the seizure machine?
Yeah.
When they joke about like what Team 4-Star, right? When they did the Freezer arc or the Namek arc, where Jason Berta do the seizure procedure.
Yeah.
There's a reference to it. It was like red and blue and just doof, 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 doof.
Yeah, it's, man, just... I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of people making content and media and stuff that don't think about this shit, and even the amount of games that I play where it still comes up warning this game contains flashing lights and images.
And that's the thing, normally as well, it's for like a split second. Or sometimes it's inadvertent. I know there was like, sometimes, Joe, when like Metal Gear Rising does that sometimes, where sometimes the textures will flicker in and out.
Right, yeah.
Randomly. And they'll do it really quickly, and that can potentially be seizure causing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mistake. And normally it's just like, it's either a brief moment or inadvertent, or it's something that just happens accidentally due to just lighting issues or what have you. But in this episode, it was very intentional. He mentions that the flashes are extremely bright, comparable to strobe lights with a blink rate of about 12 hertz for 5 seconds in almost full screen. Then 2 seconds in outright full screen. So like almost 10 straight seconds of strobe lighting. Which is an excessive amount of strobe lighting.
I mean,
like, even when I've been to discos, they do strobe lighting. They only put that shit on for a few seconds.
And even to somebody that doesn't have any problem with seizures or anything, let alone that just hurt your eyes to look at.
It does. And that's what it mentions here. So at this point, some viewers complained of blurry vision, headache, dizziness, nausea, seizures, temporary blindness, convulsions, and loss of consciousness.
That was nearly me, as I nearly punched myself in the face. Just a moth or something just flew at my face. I didn't realise.
Don't you mean a Pokemon used Flash?
Used Quick Attack on me.
The Fire Defense Agency reported a total of 685 viewers, 310 boys and 375 girls, were taken to hospitals by ambulances. This is when people say it was overblown, we have reports from the Tokyo Fire Department.
Yeah, like, there are literally records about this. It wasn't made up.
Yeah. And he mentions here that although many children recovered during the ambulance ride, because, it was only for a few minutes, but I can still imagine that's quite traumatic for the child and the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And in such a situation, calling an ambulance is not an unreasonable thing to do when your child collapses to the floor. But he does mention that over 150 children were admitted to hospitals. 2 people remained hospitalized for over 2 weeks. Others had seizures while watching news reports, which for some reason rebroadcast the scene. They rebroadcast, like, look up. That's literally a joke in one of the Scary Movie movies where they say, hey, The Ring is a videotape that kills you when you watch it. Here it is. That's who thought that was a good idea?
Fuck me.
And here's what makes it scary, Lucas, because only a fraction of the near 700 children treated were eventually diagnosed with photosensitive epilepsy. And that's the thing about photosensitive epilepsy is no laughing matter. It fucking sucks, and stuff like this can trigger it and cause severe issues.
Yes.
But the things that trigger it are also, as mentioned, very disorientating and can result in blurry vision, headaches, dizziness, nausea, seizures, temporary blindness, convulsions, and loss of consciousness if it's extreme enough, or the viewer hasn't got a fully developed sense of sight.
Like maybe the children that are watching this child's anime.
And that's the thing as well of like, and how many kids do you know sit this far away from the TV when you're watching Pokemon?
That was definitely, like, obviously, maybe not as much nowadays because people have got 50-inch TVs, but
Mhm.
when, you know, it was the 90s, a lot of kids would sit super close to the TVs.
Yeah. And here's like maybe one of those like rumors and myths about it being overblown come from, because later studies showed that about 5 to 10% of viewers had mild symptoms but did not need any hospital treatment. So that's probably kids who just like their eyes started hurting and it's like, oh, my eyes hurt, I'm gonna look
Yeah.
away from the screen. Oh, I'm fine. Which is still, that still sucks. And if it's something that's entirely avoidable, maybe don't put it in your TV show.
Yeah, it's still a bad look, right?
Yeah. It's like, Joe, when you play like Dark Souls, I always make the joke of like dark from soft. It's like, you don't need it. Like, I'm just now thinking, oh, imagine trying to play Dark Souls on one of those VR headsets when like the FromSoft logo comes up.
Oh.
It'd be awful, right?
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned that approximately 12,000 children reported mild symptoms of illness, but this more closely resembles symptoms of mass hysteria than a typical seizure. But you know, there was like they said, okay, maybe a lot of children heard stories, and then on the playground told their friends that they also experienced this. But still, we do have the 685 children who were admitted to hospital, or like, you know, and got better on the ambulance ride, and the other 150 who were in hospital, and then the 2 kids were in hospital for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There was like, you know, a couple more thousand kids who were like, you know, after the fact, like, yeah, I remember that. That happened to me.
Yeah.
He mentions that scientists believe the flashing light triggered photosensitive seizures in which visual stimuli can cause altered consciousness. Although about 1 in 4,000 people are susceptible to these type of seizures, the number of people affected by the broadcast was unprecedented and is believed to be due to the sheer popularity of Pokemon. That's the thing. It's like 1 in 4,000 people suffer from photosensitive seizures. If you've got 1 million people watching Pokemon, you do the math.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. After the airing of Den-O Senshi Porygon, the Pokemon anime took a 4-month hiatus. The TV Tokyo Red Circle logo and the Chew text have been removed from the Pokemon opening and end credits. The Lightning Flash was removed from the Darada Who Is It segment, and the station only reran the first 37 episodes of Pokemon until it returned on April 16th when it aired Pikachu Goodbye, which was the only episode aired during those months, or the only episode promoted, and did lead to people thinking it was going to be cancelled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we're not going to show any more episodes. We're going to rerun the first 37, and the only episode they advertise is called Goodbye Pikachu.
That's just it's not a good look, is it? It's not a good sign of things to come.
And it just mentioned that numerous things in the show were redone that could have caused similar issues, such as like, you know, the Who's That Pokemon segment and things like that.
Oh, right, yeah, because they have like a bright light appear when the Pokeball opens up, right?
Yeah, and before the resumption of broadcast, they had a special episode titled "Problem Inspection Report on Pocket Monster Animated Series." This was broadcast on April 11th in Japan. The host Miyuki try that again. The host Miyuki Yadama went over the circumstances of the program format and the on-screen advisories at the beginning of animated programs, as well as showing numerous letters and fan drawings sent in by viewers, most of whom were concerned that the incident would lead to the anime's cancellation. And we did a fact feed video on this, and what a bunch of fans did is they gathered outside of like Pokemon HQ and sang the theme song.
Oh my god, no.
Moving on, Lucas, we have Holiday High Jinx. And do you want to guess why this one was banned? Just a picture of Jinx on screen, presumably next to Miss Popo.
I'm not putting that next to our faces, Carl.
Yeah, so this episode has been banned since April 2013 after being accused by Carol Weatherford, who is an American author and critic. You could probably also surmise from that she's black. She is like a staunch advocate for like African American rights and like, you know, proper representation within media. Mm-hmm. And you have a children's TV show that has a fucking like, it's awful, right?
Yeah, and we know.
And I get it. I know it's a cultural thing.
We know that it is based off, you know, traditional Japanese stage plays and things like this, and there's very specific things that you can look into for the inspirations of Jinx that aren't just meant to be it's offensive blackface. it's not meant to be offensive, but it is.
Yes, it's that thing of it's like I always use the metaphor of stepping on someone's toe. If you step on someone's toe and it's an accident and you apologize, that should be fine. But here's the thing: you should apologize because you still stepped on that person's toe. No, you didn't intend to hurt them, but you still did. And this is just the equivalent of that, only you're hurting their feelings.
Yeah.
You should apologize for doing that. And if you keep doing the thing that's hurting that person, it becomes less and less easy to accept that apology. But it just seems like you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, instead they went, look, we didn't realize this was going to be offensive to different cultures. We're going to change the design of Jinx a little bit, alter their skin color, and just...
Which you mentioned here, yeah, recolor to purple, not only in the anime, but all the video games and associated media. So just Jinx's design has been changed, just whole cloth.
Yeah, just they put their hands up and were like, we're sorry, we'll change it.
Yep. You know, we didn't realize like this wouldn't travel well. Now we do. We've learned from our mistakes and we've changed it. And that's realistically all you need to do. But there are numerous episodes that have been banned for the same reason. They include stage fright and the Mandarin Island mismatch. There's nothing on them besides just saying they also feature the original design of Jinx.
It was just that episode specifically where they got called out for it.
Yeah, and then we have here The Ice Cave. This is the third episode to be skipped over by 4Kids Entertainment. This episode was likely skipped due to the appearance of Jinx. This is the 252nd episode of the original Japanese series. And just for some clarification here, some people believe that Jinx was a racial stereotype of Africans, similar to those to the story of Little Black Sambo.
Right.
And I'm not even going to send you a picture of this one.
No.
But just, you can Google it, and you look at it and you're like, oh, yeah.
And that's the thing, again, that wasn't what they were trying to do with that design.
It's still reminiscent of it, though.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's like I mentioned a Scary Movie earlier. It's like in that bit in Scary Movie where main character, it's like the third one is like partly a parody of 8 Mile. And after the rap battle, he puts his hood up and he's got a big white hood on his head. And it just looks bad, right? And then like the hood's like, yeah, I'm in the hood. And he raises his hands in celebration and he starts like cheering and waving to his friends. It's like, again, no offense was intended, but you can't argue that that doesn't look bad. Right?
Yeah.
And Scary Movies should not have a more sensitive portrayal of like racism than a TV show for children. I'm just going to say that.
Maybe, yeah.
And then we have here a touchdown of friendship. So a touchdown of friendship is the 64th episode of Pocket Monsters Sun and Moon. It aired in Japan on March 1st, 2018. It never aired in the United States. It was never explained why. However, some speculated that the face paint Ash uses to disguise himself as a Persimmon could be mistaken for blackface. And again, it's just that thing of painting your face black. There's many excuses and reasons to do that, but you probably don't want an out of context shot out. Like, that's probably the thing the Pokemon Company thought of. It's explained in the show why he's doing it, but we just don't want the out of context shot of our character wearing blackface.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, again, it's just one of those things where the exact same just thing that we talk about quite often of just we don't want specific things to be like clipped out and taken out of context. And obviously,
explain it, but would you want to use do you want to expend your energy explaining why?
Yeah, it's just easier to be like, yeah, all bad. Let's just take that out and not worry about that and not spread that around so people can find it again.
It's like there's that like Metal Gear Solid 3 remake getting made, and I'm wondering are they going to include the black face paint? Because yeah, when you're in like a dark area and you can wear the black face paint, and just it's out of context. It's really funny. Is when you call up like your tactics and weapons guy, Sigint, who's black, and just his only line is, wearing the black face paint. And then he explains the military history of using black face paint. But I just did a spit take the first time I called him up when I was wearing that, because I was like sneaking through a darkened area. And he's like, wearing the black face paint. And I thought, oh, fuck yeah, I'm calling the black dude wearing black face paint. But because the context is you're sneaking through a darkened area, he's like, doesn't miss a beat. But
No,
again,
and
out of context, if you can just have a shot of Snake putting the face paint on, it
but
doesn't
yeah,
look great.
and that's the thing is just a lot of people will use it in those areas of the game because it puts your camo rating higher.
Yep.
So you're like,
And again,
okay, cool. We're in a dark cave or whatever. It's like basically pitch black. Put black face paint on, and you'll get a better camo rating, and that makes sense in like a strategic sense.
it's just that thing of out of context, it looks really bad and it's hard to explain.
And also, yeah, Kay mentions in chat that Mr. Popo never got changed in Dragon Ball, and yeah, it's a bad look that they just
That's why
never
you
changed that
appear to
character.
say yeah. I do like, though, you mentioned Team 4-star, they say Blue Popo. Just, I am Blue Popo. Just, they painted in blue. It's like the most obnoxious shade of blue, right?
But they do also have original Mr. Popo a lot of the time, right?
Yeah. And it's just,
Yeah.
it just makes you uncomfortable to look at.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the UK when you go into a pub and they have like a gollywog.
God, I hate those
Why
things.
have one of those?
Like, how are they not just all been chucked out and
Well,
destroyed?
that's the thing. They became a thing. And then, like, weird right-wing shitheads they know that they upset people, so they intentionally get as many of them as they can.
And
There was that guy who had like a pub where someone said, "Hey, can you take that down? It's 2024. We don't like having mocking racial stereotypes like on the wall." And the guy's like, "Well, I can do what the fuck I want." So the person contacted his brewery and like, "Hey, do you like your beer being sold in a pub with like racist shit on the walls?" And this pub went out of business.
And it's a weird thing, right? Because I know like a lot of people will argue, oh, well, that's like a cultural iconic thing. And I know that I think maybe it's like the Netherlands or something, where they have that traditional dance where they do all like the blackface and shit, and people defend it as being part of their culture. And I'm like, but it's still really fucking offensive and awful. Like,
here's the thing as well, they changed that because that's like the Christmas thing, right? Where it's supposed to represent like you've got soot on your face because they come down your chimney.
right?
They just have
I'm not.
rather than being full blackface, they just smear snot, like they smear soot on their face to look like which looks better
Right.
and is more representative of what the actual folklore is. But then you have the people who they know that it looks bad and they intentionally put as much blackface on their face as possible. It's like, okay, you had the excuse before that you didn't know, but now that you do know, and it's like stepping on someone's toe, right? It's like you knew that you were stepping on, like you stepped on my toe and you apologized, but you know my toe's still there, and now you're stomping on it.
Mm-hmm. Like just doubling down, and it's oh, fuck those people.
You know the toe is there. You know that I can't move it. You know it's hurting me to do it, but you're gonna still do it because you don't like being told not, like to just look where you're stepping. It's a weird situation. But we move on now to unaired episodes. These episodes that were just never aired. They include the Battle of Quaking Island, originally set to air in 2004. The episode was skipped due to its similarities to the Chuetsu earthquake on October 23rd, 2004. The episode was originally postponed, but was later skipped in rotation and eventually discontinued. And this is the first episode not to be aired in Japan.
So it was just not finished?
It was just not aired. It mentions here as well, this is interesting, in that macabre way. Since then, the move Earthquake, alongside similar moves such as Fissure and Magnitude, have not been used in the anime.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's just one of those things of, hey, it's just a bad look.
It's like, yeah, mimicking things in the real world that, like, maybe it's just better to avoid for a light-hearted kids program, right?
Yeah. Like, as well, just, is it that important of a story? Not really. Check it out.
And also, I know that we're referring to, like, Pokemon anime as for kids. It is clearly marketed towards children, and as someone who plays every Pokemon game still, I'm not trying to, say that Pokemon is only for children or anything. I fucking love Pokemon to this day. It's just clearly, especially the anime, is marketed more towards children.
Also, the network in America that aired the original series was literally called 4Kids.
Yes, so for us, it literally was 4Kids.
Yeah, moving on, we have Team Rocket versus Team Plasma. The two-part episode, Team Rocket versus Team Plasma, was originally scheduled to be broadcast on March 17th and March 24th, 2011. The Pokemon Smash episode on that week would have been followed by the first part, but was preempted from broadcast due to news coverage of the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, before being postponed due to the content of the episodes, wherein Castelia City is destroyed. There were plans for the episode to be broadcast at a later date, but the episode was never actually aired. Footage from the episode, however, was later used in a later episode called Milotia and the Undersea Temple. Or Meloetta, sorry. I'm not very good at pronouncing some of the things from Pokemon later in.
I was thinking maybe they've misspelled Melotic then, and I was like,
Meloetta.
Meloetta,
which aired a few years later, as well as in Strong Strategy Steals the Show, which aired in 2012. And yeah, again, probably a good look, right? I remember it was years ago now. I used to write for Cracked, and I remember once there was someone in the forums asking, of like, "Hey, my article was meant to go up yesterday, and it never did. Is there a reason for that?" And I think the editor, because it was just after. Do you remember the shootings in Reykjavik?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
The lead editor of the site just said, "Your article was titled 7 Epic One-Man Rampages. Do you not see why we'd not want to air that, like have that on the front page of our website yesterday? Is there anything in the news that's happened in the last few days that might make you think it'd be a bit in poor taste?" And again, with context, they're not talking about that, but it's just, you just don't want someone to be able to screenshot that and say, "What the fuck," right?
Yeah, and we often get requests for people saying, "Hey, this thing just happened, and can you cover it?" It's like, no, that I don't want to talk about that thing. Like, or literally, when it comes to Pokemon, we recently had someone mention, "Hey, maybe you could talk about Rachel Lillis," and like, rest in peace, Rachel Lillis. Like, they were
I've not mentioned it so far. It's not because we don't want to talk about. It's not because we don't care. It's because it's in poor taste.
Mm-hmm. Like, I want to mention just they did a great job. They played, if anyone isn't aware, they recently passed away, and they played like notably like Misty, Jessie, and Jigglypuff in the Western version of Pokemon.
It's like that's so much of season 1, right? Jigglypuff was a big part of that first like season of the show, as is Jessie and Misty.
Yeah, exactly. So a massive part of like my childhood and your childhood, and for many other people as well. And just they did a great job. And it's just, it would be a real shitty look if, and I'm not just worried about appearances. I would just feel bad about jumping on top of their death to cover it.
And people do, and I find it is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It is legitimately just I don't know how those people have souls. Like, part of it must be eaten away by the fact you are monetizing someone's death, and then using the excuse of, "But I just love them so much." It's like, well, let them rest in peace. That's why we say rest in peace, right? Rest.
Look, if you're covering it for the sake of like a news article, that's one thing. But shitty YouTubers making like videos about their death to get views and money and shit, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that's just one of those things of, like, we get asked a lot of, like, when there's a big news story to cover things in relation to it. If that news story is someone dying, we're not going to cover that.
Yeah. And I thought I'd mention that just because, it was a good segue into that, and I do want to just pay respect to the voice actor by mentioning them, but, like, yeah, I don't want to, like, specifically cover, like, a tragedy of someone dying.
Yeah, and that's probably as well, someone's probably going to be asking, well, I'm surprised you didn't mention the passing of this person. It's like, because, of course, we're torn up about it, and it's sad. But again, rest in peace.
Totally.
Like, we all grieve in our own way. And one of the ways that I do it, privately.
Yeah, and there's no easy way to, like, segue back into the wiki book. Carl, what is the next banned episode?
The next section is postponed episodes. So we've gone through episodes that were banned. We've gone on through that were never aired, and these are ones that were postponed from being aired. So they include a fishy connoisseur in a fishy competition. The episode, A Fishy Connoisseur in a Fishy Competition, was postponed from its original air date, April 7, 2011, June 23, 2011, due to the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. So it's another episode involving just the characters are near the sea. Similarly, we have... Oh, go on.
I was just going to say that makes sense of, like, yeah, it's one of those things where obviously tsunamis happen a lot of the time, as do like earthquakes and other natural disasters and stuff. It's just, maybe we'll just wait so we're not airing an episode exactly after.
Yeah, and then we have here an undersea place to call home, which was an episode featuring Ash, Clement, Serena, and Bonnie helping a Skrelp return to its family in a sunken cruise ship, which was originally set to broadcast on April 24th, 2014. However, the sinking of the MV Sewol led to the episode being pulled from its time slot with plans for a later broadcast. It's like, hey, a ship sank with people on it. Just this episode will remind people of that. It's probably a poor taste. And there's probably someone out there who's listening to this and like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. And it's like, well, congratulations to you for not having a soul. Maybe, that sounds harsh, right? But maybe not having a soul is a bit harsh, but like, congratulations to you for having no empathy. Because you know as well, if you told those people of like I guess it's people who don't have empathy when something personally affects them, it's the biggest issue in the world, right? But when the idea is you like, hey, try caring about somebody else, it's like, no, I want my Pokemon. And speaking of which, Lucas, we've got something we can speak to with the next few episodes that were pulled from air for a short while.
Okay.
There were 7 episodes from season 23, episodes 1110 to episode 1116, were postponed from their original weekly air dates, April 26th to June 7th, 2020. And can you think of something that happened in 2020 that might have resulted in episodes of the Pokemon anime being postponed? Is there any sort of big news story that happened in 2020 that kind of upended everything in the world?
Well, why specifically would Pokemon episodes be postponed?
Because it was... we're, of course, talking about the COVID-19 pandemic. It's because everything was postponed, Lucas.
Oh, just like general production
generally.
postponing. Right, okay. I thought you were more saying, like, there was something in those episodes that would be related to the topic at hand or something, so they got postponed. I was like, okay.
No, there's nothing specific in them. It's just, hey, we've just postponed them from airing because there's kind of some shit happening in the world right now. And we could speak to this a little bit, can't we, Lucas? Because during the pandemic, we never once stopped uploading Fact Fiend or Wiki Weekends videos.
I don't think we ever missed our regular schedule. Yeah.
We'd never had a single drop in our schedule because we can speak to this. At the start of the pandemic, I think the day it happened, or the day like lockdown was announced in the UK, I was due to fly to Japan to visit my girlfriend at the time. I was due to visit her, and the pandemic happened, and I was going to be there for 2 weeks. And then I was going to come back for a week, and then go back for 2 weeks. So we were a month and a half ahead on Fact Fiend content.
Yeah, because I remember, like, in our like friend group chat, it was like a daily conversation between a few of us of just, hey, Carl, like, things are getting a little bit worse. Are you still going to Japan? You're like, I think so. Maybe. Should I? Yeah. Like, I don't know. And just every day it got a little bit worse and a little bit worse.
I got an email just saying your flight's been cancelled. Here's your money back. So, but we were so far ahead on Fact Fiend content, we were able to figure out our new recording schedule. That's why I was like literally stood in front of like my bedroom wall with like the green screen hastily duct taped to the wall. And even though we never dropped an episode, we still uploaded, the episodes, like, the visual quality wasn't great. People weren't there. That's where like Faraway Lucas started. We never dropped an upload. But do you remember, Lucas, every other day we get an arsey message from someone of like, well, why is it a big deal? Why are you not in person recording? Every other day, right?
Yep, and there were some people telling us that they didn't believe that we weren't recording in person. Some people were mad because the quality dipped. It's like, Carl's got to do all this shit on his own all of a sudden.
Like, people were getting mad that you weren't breaking lockdown protocol to come to Sheffield to record half an hour of a Fact Fiend episode. And they were yelling at us. There were people who were mad at me because I put out a thing saying, hey, here's my setup. I'm literally recording in my bedroom. I had to like duct tape a green screen to the wall and like push a camera against the other wall. So I'm like, well, why don't you push your mattress against the wall for soundproofing? And I said, where do you want me to fucking sleep? I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. You didn't think that I've got to sleep?
But Carl, sacrifice all of your just nice creature comforts during a global pandemic so that my video can be a little bit better.
It's like as well, like when we were able to start recording in person again, and I would wear a mask because I was recording in an office full of people.
Yep.
And you were supposed to wear a mask. And people were mad at me for wearing a mask. Like, why the fuck are you wearing that mask? It's like, I have to. It's the law, and I don't want to get sick. And people were
Also,
mad at us for doing it.
yeah, you literally at the time it was like, fines being allocated to people for not wearing masks and following protocol properly. And you don't really want to post evidence of you breaking the law on to YouTube. Like, that's a bad idea.
People got mad at us for doing it. They got mad at us for like trying to safeguard our own safety,
Mm-hmm.
and would get pissed off like, why don't you just not do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to get sick. It's like, oh, why doesn't Lucas just travel through on the train from Liverpool to Sheffield? Well, people will suggest as well, oh, why don't, like, we did the Breath of the Wild playthrough, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And people were asking, why don't you post your Switch to Carl?
Yeah, just back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
send your Switch back and forth so that Carl can keep playing.
Yeah. Or I think there was someone else who's like, oh, hey, I'm stuck in lockdown. Can you transfer all of the episodes of Fact Fiend onto a hard drive and send it to me?
Yeah, just so that they had a personal archive so they could watch it all.
Yeah, because they were stuck in lockdown, wanted to rewatch the archives without ads. But I think people just don't think. And just how much the pandemic uprooted everything, and people were mad. Of like, and I bet there were people like, why can't I watch Pokemon? It's like, well, oddly enough, people are dying.
Is this really the most prescient thing at the moment? Yeah.
Like Kim Kardashian screaming because she's lost a diamond earring, and just her sister says, Kim, people are dying. And that's what it was for us. It's like, oh, this video is of slightly worse quality than I'm used to. It's like, I am in my house. I am one man. What the fuck do you want me to do? And the answer is, they just want someone to yell at.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's the same person who, like, when their water stops working, just gets mad and yells at the tap. And you think that's a stupid thing to do, no one would do that. That's the equivalent of what they were doing. Like, they're pressing the tap, they're using the tap because the entertainment's come out, and the entertainment's not coming out. Because there's roadworks.
It's just
the roadworks is the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, it's wild.
That period was nightmarish. And not even just because of the pandemic. The pandemic was actually free and easy. Because, we were in relative safety and comfort for the majority of it. It was dealing with other people.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the amount of people who got mad at me for like, trying to safeguard my own life. Yelling at me when I went to get like, oh, there's going to be an episode or two. I'm not going to stream this week because I've got COVID. Why not? I've got a disease that killed people that I know.
And like, generally speaking, I think we do a pretty good job of not letting comments affect us and stuff. But when it's people being like that fucking just dense and selfish, you're like, oh, come on.
Especially considering that my mum is a fucking like palliative care nurse, so she looks after people at end of life.
Yeah, but Carl,
I'd call her every other day, and she'd tell me about how we just like 40 more people gone to the hospital today. There's someone yelling at me of like, Carl, why are you not bringing your friends and family over here?
But Carl, like, they clap for her every now and then.
They did. But she said it was fucking annoying, give me more money.
Yeah, I don't want you clapping for me.
The worst bit is, though, they'd clap for her if she worked nights. So she'd work nights and they'd clap and wake her up. But yeah, oh god, that, like I said, it was just other people. They always say like hell is other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was. Of just, hey, why don't you just endanger yourself and others because I want to watch your funny fact videos? Like, what's the other 700?
Yep. But anyway, Carl, have we got...
we have episodes that were skipped in the English dub, and there's no explanation for these. It's just recap episodes that were skipped because they were recap episodes.
Oh, okay.
There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. Then there were special episodes that were skipped in the English dub, though it's never explained why, because they could have provided important context for later episodes. They include Dawn setting off on a new journey, Pewter Jim, the greatest crisis ever, Cillian and Brock, Gyarados' outrage, Iris and Ibuki, the path to becoming the Dragon Master, and the strongest duo, Citron and Sealan.
Like, Dawn setting out on a new journey sounds like a pretty important episode.
Nah, fuck it, Lucas. Like, it's not important. It's not, those stupid kids don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And then we have temporarily removed episodes. And these episodes were removed temporarily, at least from broadcast in the United States. Why, Lucas? Do you want to guess?
I believe what you're referring to is 9/11.
9/11. And I have flitted between whether or not we should do a 9/11 episode. Because I know we said we don't talk about tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically, I would want to talk about all of the pop culture changes made as a result of 9/11. Because the world for a little bit went insane. Do you remember, like, at the start of the pandemic, where like any episode of a sitcom that mentioned getting sick just got removed from like syndication?
Yeah.
Like for 9/11, it was so wild. Like that's where they temporarily changed the name of like French fries to Freedom Fries in some restaurants. And like Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers had to be renamed in America.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't think
Yeah,
about
and
that.
Jenga sales plummeted and stuff like that. And it's just, it was such. The only thing to say is weird. It was just so weird. Of like, why is this what you care about?
And that's the thing. I understand that it was a horrible tragedy. We're not saying that it isn't.
Yeah,
It's just
and
why
of course, there are
does
some things you'd want to change for sensitivity reasons, but why specifically? Like Spider-Man, for example, they changed Spider-Man because the Twin Towers were in Spider-Man.
yeah.
But by changing it, that just means that 9/11 happened in the Spider-Man universe, and you didn't stop it. And obviously, they didn't think of it that way, but you can't not think about that now because you removed the Twin Towers.
And yeah, it's just God. It's so weird. Like, why does French fries need to be changed? You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's what I wouldn't want to talk about, like, you know, the horrible tragedy itself, but the overreaction of some in the media.
Remember, everyone, I did accidentally decide that we would do a QA episode on
9/11.
September 11th this year because it's podcast number 69. And I was like, oh, that's the nice podcast. And then Carl dropped that info on me. But yeah, just remember that you can go to our community Discord and go to the question and answers section and just drop us some questions to answer during our podcast in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
I forgot to mention that in the intro.
But there we go, yeah. So tuning on 9/11 for that. And the only two episodes that removed due to sensitivity about the September 11th attacks were Tentacle and Tentacruel, which is the episode where the giant tentacruel knocks over a bunch of buildings.
Yeah, literally a tentacruel knocking down skyscrapers.
Yeah, and then we have the episode titled The Tower of Terror, which has no such things within the episode, but was removed entirely due to its title. Similar to
that's just the episode where they go to the
spooky
ghost tower, right? Yeah. And Haunter and
title.
Gengar and Ghastly are just picking on them. And yeah, I mean, the title does make sense. Yeah,
and just the world kind of went fucking insane. And that's why I think it'd be fascinating to talk about, but it'd be very difficult to find the right angle with which to tackle it if it doesn't come across as crass.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? That's the last entry on the list. And speaking of crass, if you want to celebrate 9/11, I stream Metal Gear Rising Revengeance every Friday. And one of the things that I always do in that game is I do a shot for 9/11. Because in that game, around the midpoint, a character, Raiden says anything that'll rival 9/11 can't be good. And that's normally where I'll do a shot to celebrate the fact that the game is not political. There are people out there who insist with their whole chest Metal Gear Rising is not political.
There are also people that say all Metal Gear Solid games are not political as well.
But it's funny with Rising, because Rising of all of them is the most on the nose. The final boss is a US senator.
But there's no politics.
There's no politics. And, like, you know, there's just a moment in the game where, like, oh my god, what are the bad guys planning? They're planning double 9/11. And I just go, got to do a shot for 9/11. No politics here. And it's just, again, it's not making fun of the tragedy. It's just how crass and on the nose that is, and people still didn't get it. Like, it could not be more obvious what they're trying to allude to. Not even alluding to it, they're just saying straight up, we're going to do 9/11 again.
Yeah.
And people still didn't get it.
But Carl, what about Metal Gear Rising?
Well, I play it every Friday. So every Friday on stream from about 8 p.m, I play that game, and it normally coincides with the release of a Fact Fiend video. And this week, Lucas, it'll be a video starring you.
Yeah.
Not sure which one yet, but it'll be a video starring you, because me and you have recorded many videos for Fact Fiend. And Fact Fiend is now back. He'll be uploading videos every couple of weeks, as I want to feel like it, normally coinciding with the release of something new.
Are you going to put out the Fact Fiend video this week where we talk about 9/11?
No, that's a very special episode.
That's a postponed episode.
I am tempted, though, to do the stream on 9/11, but I don't think I should. It'd be too on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd feel like it's a lot harder to justify that I'm not making fun of I'm making fun of the fact it's so on the nose. Like it's the incredulousness of people out there insisting with their whole chest this is not political when this is a line in the video game.
I will say though, it is fascinating just being on TikTok and Gen Z find joking about 9/11 real funny. So just like every now and then you'll just get hit with like a oh lol 9/11 and you're like
it's because humor hasn't evolved. I remember like, edgy humor is edgy humor.
Yeah.
And it's the equivalent of a child saying a swear word. They don't actually think it's funny. They just know that if they say that, they get a reaction. Same as like lords making fun of like any like minority.
I was literally talking about this earlier today, because I was saying, I thought it was very funny that there was a TikTok that I saw where someone was, oh hey, I'm an American, I've lived in the UK long enough where I now know how to use a fork and knife properly. And I laughed because I was like, well, you haven't lived here long enough to know that you say knife and fork.
Yep.
Because fork and knife, always like that was the thing me and my siblings did as a kid. We would always joke and go like, oh, fucking knife. And it's like, oh no, we only said fork and knife.
Well, it's like, whale oil, beef hooked. We'll all be fucked.
Yeah, and just...
Or calling your pub quiz name Norfolk and Chance. Norfolk and Chance.
We always thought it was the funniest thing.
It is,
to get away with saying fork and knife.
Speaking of getting away with that Venomoth's coming in.
Just...
Lucas, what have you got to plug? And also, I found that spider with that stood on its tiptoes, and I sent it to you.
Oh God, no!
No, look how much it's on its tippy toes.
It looks like God, it really is.
Yes. And the caption's just, is that really comfortable for you, buddy? But what have you got to plug, Monfrere?
Well, I, of course, will plug my streams as well, where just go to twitch.tv/legendacanto or follow the link in the description below. And I just happen to stream some games for myself where, like, right now we're doing Mass Effect Mondays, where we're playing through Mass Effect 3 Legendary Edition.
We're not even talking about it. We spent the last one talking about like boy bands, right?
We did, yeah. We like that's the thing. Mass Effect may be talked about during the Mass Effect streams. It's always played. The conversations go off on random tangents, but we're always playing Mass Effect.
A random tangent with me, the guy from Fact Fiend.
Is that not just the thing we're known for at this point? Like, not talking about the subject, and also this is the spiders everywhere.
It's really stood on its tippy toes, look.
It really is.
Look at it, what's he doing?
But,
so yeah, if you've got a pet spider that does that, I'd find that funny.
Yeah, then on Tuesdays, I do Tune It Tuesdays, where I normally play Zelda games. I'm currently doing a run-through of, like, nearly naked Link in Tears of the Kingdom, where I'm just not allowed to use any armor, apart from when I was required to for a cutscene in the last stream, and like spent 10 minutes trying to Google, like, can I enter Gerudo Village naked and figure out some glitch to do it? The Gerudo didn't allow it.
They don't. You're not allowed to walk around our village. Like, you know what? For sensitivity reasons, Link's got to cover up his nips.
So, like, I kept getting thrown in jail, and every time they'd get into like a battle section, because of the story, they were like, okay, well, you can unequip your armor now, and we won't have a go at you because we're in the middle of like a story combat segment.
As soon as it ends.
But it would like fade to black, enter the cutscene like, thank you for helping us. Like, now get the fuck out of town. We told you to put some clothes on.
All I can imagine is Link being dragged to prison naked. Like, I thought this was Gerudo Town. I thought this was Hyrule. I can do what I want. Have you any idea? Like, it makes even less sense in Tears of the Kingdom, where it's like, Link, you're not allowed to be in our town. It's like, I fucking saved your town, and Urbos is my best mate.
They literally say, like, Riju's assistant is like, we really appreciate that you helped with that temple, but we've told you, and it's really inappropriate to not wear clothes. Can you leave? Can you go find some armor and come back when you've got...
You know what? I respect that. So they've got boundaries, and they won't let you push them.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was a funny moment, but just... It turns out that you can't at least do an all-temple run without armor, but I'm literally doing like 3 hearts, no armor, and Link is taking some absolute torture.
The thing is, though, he's so tough anyway. It's like my headcanon is that Link never got hit. They having a cutscene where he just deflects a laser with a pot lid. He's just that good.
Yeah, I mean, technically that's not canon because it was in like Age of Calamity or something, but still,
Fuck off, he does it.
he
He
does
eats a
it.
rock.
That's my canon Link is naked, 3 hearts, got a pot lid and a mop, and he takes down
Well,
Ganon.
yeah, it's like when it comes to a video game, my canon with characters is that unless they get hit in a cutscene, they never got hit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Bayonetta never gets hit.
Well, that's literally the law of Uncharted, right?
Yeah, so Nathan Drake's never been hit, right?
Nathan Drake, when he gets like shot with 50 bullets and your screen goes red and all that, it's not in canon that he's getting shot a lot. It's that the more the screen goes red, the higher the like chance of Nathan Drake is to be hit by a bullet and die.
Yes, isn't it like he's just inordinately lucky or something like that, and like he hasn't got a health bar, it's his luck bar running out?
Essentially, yeah. Like, and then when he does get shot, he does die, and obviously you can literally see bullets hitting his body and stuff. Like, it's just their little silly canon explanation of no, Nathan Drake doesn't ever get shot. If he gets shot, you get a game over screen, and the red jam on your screen is actually his luck running out.
Yeah, it's like a visual representation of the fact that he's about to die. It's like in Revengeance, where Raiden doesn't get hit until he fights Armstrong, when he gets hit in canon like 400,000 times. And if you power scale, do you like Death Battle style power scale what Raiden's able to do?
Yeah.
He's so ridiculously durable, because Armstrong is strong. Like, when Raiden throws Metal Gear Ray at the start of Metal Gear Rising, that's before he gets to upgraded body, and Metal Gear Ray weighs 100 tons. And Raiden lifts that no problem. He throws it like 200 feet into the air. When he fights Excelsius weighs like, I think, 1,000 tons. He flips Excelsius over. So he's physically strong enough to flip Excelsius over. And he can punch Armstrong with that level of strength, and Armstrong takes no damage. But then Armstrong hits him with the same level of force.
Right, yeah.
And he hits him like 400 times in the cutscene, and Raiden doesn't die.
And Raiden just takes it, yeah.
He just takes it, yeah. And keep in mind as well, earlier in the game, Raiden has his pain inhibitors turned off, so he can feel that. So it's like Wolverine levels of like when Wolverine gets hit by the Hulk. And it's like, I'm the only person alive who can say I've been hit by the Hulk and survived. It fucking sucks.
Yeah. And of course, to just end my plug, I do Pokemon stuff on Thursdays as well.
You playing something with Regulation H? Because I'm interested in that. I've been following that. I'll be really excited to watch that.
So I'm going to start getting into doing some of that because it means basically all of the super uber powerful legendary monsters are not being allowed for the next couple of months in the new regulation rule set. So I'm going to actually be able to use my little charger bug and have a chance.
So that'll be tomorrow, yes? Because I'll be interested. Hopefully I'll be around to watch that.
Well, I might build some teams for that, but it's not Reg H starts at the start of September, or Reg F, I think it is, or whatever. But yeah,
it starts in September.
It starts at the start of September, so I won't be able to do any ranked battles tomorrow.
So I've seen like some new stuff, but maybe they're just like casual tournaments people have hosted with the rules, but they're not official yet.
Probably, yeah. But Carl, I have got a special little segment that we don't normally do. However, I don't have a drink and I need the toilet. So what I'm going to do is take us to break screen for a couple of minutes, and we're still coming back to do my wiki, but I'll have like a little temporary like segment I'm going to do with you before we go into my wiki that I'm just going to tease for everyone before we go to our break.
Okay, so I can go get a drink as well, yeah?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get myself a cup of tea, then I'll be back. I'm interested. I don't know what this is. This is not a bit.
I'm dropping this on Carl. Without his knowledge, I forgot to mention that I was going to do this.
You're going to make me improvise for once.
So, yeah, I'm keeping Carl on his tippy toes. Just like that tarantula. But, yeah, we'll go to our break screen, mute up, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, just, remember to leave us a like so people can find us while we're live.
Cheers, we're back in a minute.
Well, maybe we won't be. I don't have a break screen, so bear with me.
Let's make the spider massive.
Maybe. But yeah, we'll just literally I don't have a break screen to use, so let's just make the spider massive. And if anyone in chat, it's your responsibility.
No, make Buddy massive.
Yeah, that's make Buddy massive.
Make
Let's
Buddy ginormous.
Let's get the full picture of Buddy.
He is the most pet of the week that's ever pet
Buddy
of the week.
is going to keep charge. So if
There we
anyone comes into chat and is like, what the fuck's going on? Chat, is your job to let everyone know that we're just taking a break for a minute.
Okay, so should I mute now, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I am back. We're still waiting on Karl to come back, but thank you, Manny the Man, for just clarifying that the gigantic lizard has taken over chat. Oh, so sorry about that, everyone. Just, we're be human beings ourselves, so I'm very confused as to, like, okay, I'm apparently behind on the times. It was my preview of the stream when I just was like, everything's still running okay. Just it was Karl on screen. I was like, what? How is Karl on screen? Like, what is going on? So, thank you for bearing with us. And Karl is obviously
Can't believe he started
just come back. Well, I just figured like I'd try and keep chat entertained as much as, you know, it is fun to just see a giant lizard taking over the stream.
To be fair, what you should have done is got like the giant lizard, made it like go to the spider and go rawr, make a fight.
I can't like animate something on the fly, Karl, while I'm not here.
If you were that good, you could. But go on. What was this surprise you got for me?
Well, Karl, you know, a lot of the time, just as is the world, is you find out like a fun little thing, and a lot of the time you go like, oh, look, like, you know, can we make this into like a wiki episode? And often it's like, no, this is just like a one thing, a fun little fact or whatever. And I was like, oh, maybe I can just like bring it up as like a fun fact for the podcast kind of thing.
Okay, also, the mug I got.
I do appreciate the little like Pokemon Pikachu.
Pokemon.
But just, I figured a way to gamify it a little bit because you are, you know, the host of Fact Fiend and have ran it for a long time. You probably know a lot of the facts that I would randomly find online, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I figured a way to gamify it would be to mention the start of the fact and to see if you do or don't know the fact.
Okay, and these coming from somewhere? Is it like penguin wrappers or a book?
It's just something like I literally just saw a little thing on that. I can't remember where I saw it. Double checked that it was true and went, oh, that'll be a fun thing to mention. And it's just like, I thought every now and then, if I've got a little fun fact to bring, I can not just bring it to the podcast, but also see if Karl knows the fact first.
So you're going to like test my general knowledge?
Your little like quirky fact knowledge, I suppose.
Okay, I'm down for this. Let's see.
So it's just one thing. I've got two so far, and if I do this in the future, I'm not saying it'll be every week, but maybe it can become like a little recurring segment every now and then if I do find something interesting to just quickly mention.
Okay,
I'll
so
just
what do I need?
Use one today. You're
going to ask me a question, then I get to answer if I know it.
All I'm just going to say, Karl, is do you know the story behind how Evel Knievel got their name?
I wrote something about it years ago, but I don't know the exact details.
You don't remember? Okay.
I don't remember yet. Like I've written 2,000 articles. It's something to do like when they were a kid, right?
No, it's not. So I've gone to like, you know, I fact checked it, and it's on evilknievel.com.
Okay, probably a good source.
A good source about Evel Knievel, I suppose. Of like, I guess I've got to take this website's name, you know, their word for it. But yeah, just I thought it was like a fun little fact. So, just got it up on my phone for anyone wondering where I'm looking. But after a police chase in 1956, in which he had crashed his motorcycle, Knievel was taken to jail on charge of reckless driving. When the night jailer came around to check roll call, he noted that Robert Knievel was in one cell, and next to him was William Knorfel in another. And Knorfel was well known as Awful Knorfel. So Knievel began to be referred to as Evel Knievel because he felt like he needed a rhyming nickname.
Okay. Yeah. I did not know that. I've written about Evel Knievel, but I don't think I ever wrote about it. I would have remembered that. Yeah, that's the kind of that sticks in your mind, right? Awful Knorfel.
Awful Knorfel.
That's not a name.
And he's like, I need to live up to the name of Awful Knorfel. I'm gonna be Evel Knievel. I'm like, okay, that was one of those stories where it's like,
that sounds made up, right?
Sounds so made up, and then it's on like evilknievel.com.
And that's like, you know, the essence of a fact theme video. In essence of a fact theme video, like people, I always get suggested stuff. There's someone in the wiki suggestions in the Discord asking me of like do a fact theme video about this.
Mm-hmm.
The criteria for fact theme videos are very effusive, but I know what they are, but it's hard to explain. But one of the criteria for me is it sounds like something that, wait, no, that can't be true.
Mm-hmm.
But also it has to be something that's not been covered extensively elsewhere online.
Yeah.
For example, like one that's going to get released on Friday. I think it's the one I'm going to do is that time Arnold Schwarzenegger was attacked by dogs because large. Because it just sounds stupid, right? It's like it invites natural curiosity.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was
I
just
did
one
not
of
know
those
about
facts
awful can awful.
where I was like,
awful.
awful Knuff, that can't be true. And then I looked it up and it's on evilknievel.com going like, yeah, this is how he got his nickname.
Yeah, I've written some stuff about Evel Knievel in the past. Like, for example, I know that Johnny Knoxville is among his biggest fans, and Johnny Knoxville often wears outfits inspired by Knievels, as well as those of Gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson.
I mean, that makes perfect sense with Johnny Knoxville being a, stuntman / Daredevil-esque person, right? Like, of course, one of his inspirations is Evel Knievel. And always found it interesting.
I remember the fact that I did for Fact Fiend.
Oh, okay.
It was a promoter. A promoter was bad-mouthing him. So Evel Knievel went and beat him with a baseball bat. But the Fact Fiend twist is that Evel Knievel had 2 broken arms. So he did it with a cast on. So Evel Knievel tracked down a promoter who ripped him off and beat him with a baseball bat, which is already ridiculous. But the Fact Fiend twist is Evel Knievel had 2 broken arms at the time, so did it wearing... And Joe, I don't know if we ever turned that into a video. That might be an article I never actually turned into a video. Did we ever make that into a video?
I don't remember doing one, but obviously I'm not
we never
of the
made
conversation during every single one.
So that was an article I wrote in 2015, and we never turned it into a video. We should do that one next. You can tell us about the awful can awful facts.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
There you go. Everyone just seeing like how things are done behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just randomly. Yeah. I just thought that was like a fun little thing to mention of like, we can't really make it an entire wiki episode or podcast subject or something, but I just thought like, A, this is a fun fact, and B, I wonder if Karl already knows this.
Yes, I didn't know that one, but I did know that Evel Knievel beat someone with a baseball bat while his arms were in casts.
Awful.
I remember that I talked about him at some point. I was like, what was the fact I talked about? That was it. And obviously, while I was doing that, the origins of his name never came up.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I just had a quick skim through it there, and it's like, yeah, it talks about when he was established, so the origin of his name. But there you go, Lucas. When we record that one, you can drop that fun fact.
And indeed. So, for everyone who watches Fact Fiend as well, you'll get to hear that story again.
You keep an ear out for that one. Imagine getting your ass beat by a guy with like arms in casts. That's got to be embarrassing, right?
It's got to be embarrassing until the moment you say it was Evel Knievel, right? And then it's a fun story.
It's just one of those things of like, it's rough, right? It's like, he's got his arms in casts.
Maybe you just don't mention that part when you bring the story up. Oh, Evel Knievel beat the shit out of me. It's like, oh no, that's awful. Yeah, he was in perfect good health at the time.
So I think it was a film I watched like a couple of weeks ago. And like a guy in a wheelchair beats someone up. And he just dives on him, and it's like, you're never going to live with getting your ass kicked by a guy in a wheelchair.
No. Yeah, but well, some sort of segue into my wiki.
Okay. Do you think Evel Knievel, if like segways were around when he was like still doing stunts, would he have done a stunt on a segway?
Oh man, I needed to make a note on my phone that we should do we should cover
the segways,
like the vehicle segways.
Didn't like the guy who made it? He died. He rode it off a cliff, right?
Well, people will find out when we cover segways at one point. I remember
we don't normally cover death, but I think if the person died in a funny way and did kind of deserved it, and it's not really the focus of the article, then we can. Again, the criteria are effusive, but me and Lucas know. Just do it. It's like, if you know, you know. There's just a gut feeling of like, this would not be something I feel comfortable talking about, whereas this is a thing that I would.
I need to make a note of that because I thought about that the other week of like, we should talk about the Segway at one point.
It was pitched as like the future of movement, and it's like, no, it's not. I can walk faster.
And the word Segway always throws me off because you'd imagine it would be spelt like the vehicle of like SEG. Well, that's WAY.
Yeah, they spelt the vehicle's name phonetically because when they spelled it as how you spell Segway, of like, moving from one thing to another, in focus tests, everyone will pronounce it Segay
or Sug or Seg.
Yeah,
like it's just a word that you look at and you're like, how the fuck are you meant to say that word? It's
Yeah, like people
SEGUE.
Yeah, so if you know like language rules for like words inspired by, I think it's origins in French, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But like when they did focus tests, I do know that about because I also wrote an article about the Segway. But it's focus tests had people mispronouncing it, said fuck it, just spell it phonetically. Also, it's easy to trademark. It's hard to trademark a word that is a real word people use.
Yeah.
Whereas if we do our own like simplified spelling of it, we can trademark that a lot easier.
And just maybe that's the thing, is just Carl knows a lot of these facts ahead of time, and I'll maybe start keeping track if I keep bringing up fun facts of like how many did I get over Carl.
Yeah, that's
keep a little scoreboard of like it's currently 1-0 to Lucas.
1-0 Lucas. So I'm winning on the wiki. Which wiki won this week? You're winning on facts that Carl didn't know.
Oh, but Carl, I thought we'd just talk about a fun little one today.
Okay. Lay on me.
You know, I always like talking about video games, and I just thought I'd bring up one that's I'm excited to play again, which is
Is it Gex?
It isn't Gex, but I found it
so in the group chat today, didn't we? Like they're bringing Croc back, and it's like we need Croc and Gex and Taz the Tasmanian Tiger.
It's just when oh no, they brought back Taz the Tasmanian Tiger. They already did a HD remaster of them, but
God,
when you were like you just said in the chat like they need to bring back Gex, fuck
as a joke,
Croc, and I was like, Carl doesn't even know. He doesn't know
they
the Gex trilogy's coming back. But I'm talking about Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes.
Go take me for a ride.
Well, no, this is Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, not Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Okay, so this is like where Marvel vs. Capcom originated.
Originated, yes. And
why did you not use this for a regular video so you put the clip in? Why did you not want to put the clip in of like the soundtrack?
Because
or, like Captain America's theme, like dun 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 dun.
Speaking of being taken for a ride, we'd be taken for a ride by the fucking copyright claim system.
Really? For Marvel vs. Capcom, usually video games get away with it, because like none of the theme songs are like licensed. Well, they are owned by someone. Generally, like, video game music, you get away with it.
You're gonna tell me that I could put in a clip of "Gonna Take Me for a Ride" and no one would have a problem with it? I think
you'd get away with that.
I'm just gonna upload like a 10-second clip of "Take Me for a Ride" and see what happens.
What, right now? I can do that if you want. While you're going through, I can just like create a clip that is like a 10-second clip and upload it to our channel, and we can see.
Right now, we've got.
I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that right now. So tell me about Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes. I'm going to download a quick clip. I'm going to export it as a video and upload it to our channel.
Oh dear.
We're going to find out.
So, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes is a crossover fighting game developed and published by Capcom. It is... Oh, wait. What? It's the third installment in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. So which was the first one, then?
Well, why don't you find out?
Like, let me go to the franchise.
Yeah, find out for us.
Oh, okay, because they class X-Men versus Street Fighter and Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter as...
What a winning fucking combination, right? X-Men versus Street Fighter. Just the image. Did you see as well recently that like artist, when like they announced like the remaster or like the re-release, that artist went back in and redrew the art of like Ryu shaking hands with Cyclops, but they made him go for like the dap up, so like doing like the handshake from like all the way back. It looks so sick.
Because like the for anyone wondering why I'm talking about this, like the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection is coming out.
Oh man, I can't wait! I can't wait to get my ass kicked online in that.
Oh god, it's gonna be so rough. But I will just grab that picture that Carl's talking about for everyone to see.
Do you know like the one I'm on about? Like
I'm getting it up right now. Yeah,
like just the Cyclops and Ryu dap up is so strong. People will campaign to make that the official art. It's that good. People like make it the official art.
There's a JPEG there, so see, I'm just gonna get that up for everyone now, so you can understand why Carl is just losing his shit.
It's just so good.
Because it looks incredible. Yeah, add this image here.
Just the Ryu dap up with Cyclops. It's so strong. It's like make.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to hold alt.
Well, that's the original one. That's the original artwork. But I'm talking about the one where they did like
Oh.
the redraw.
Wait, this is the original?
I think it is, yeah.
That looks so good.
Yeah, that's the official one.
Oh,
Where,
okay.
like, someone redrew it when they were here it is, I've got it. I'll send it to you. Like someone redrew it with the fucking. Like,
I'm
they're going for like
misunderstanding
the
them. Maybe I haven't seen that version. Oh, yes. No, I do know this one.
Yeah, that one. Someone drew that in celebration of like, fuck yeah. But like Capcom's artist redrew the classic artwork.
I thought you were talking about that one where they redrew the original artwork, yeah.
No, someone redrew the original of them going for like the full on, like, yeah, boy, what are you doing, man? It's like, do you know the proper, like, long time no see handshake? It's that. Like, it's Ryu and, like, Cyclops doing the long time no see handshake. And everyone just lost their fucking minds.
Get that up. Bam. And this is the problem with, like, trying to live produce a podcast. So I'm sorry, audio listeners, while I'm just trying to grab some images every now and then and things. It's just a two-man operation over here.
I'm going to try and find, and yep, so the person as well is at Yeet_Sunny.
Excellent.
On Twitter.
But what cool looking image.
I'm just going to send you a link to the original tweet, so you can post that in like. Actually, I'll post it in the group chat, not the group chat, the chat for everyone watching.
The live chat, yes.
The live chat now. So if you want to go like see the original and give the artist some love, there you go.
And yeah, so apparently Marvel vs. Capcom, the first Marvel vs. Capcom game is not the first Marvel vs. Capcom game.
No, it's X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
It's X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
I've uploaded 10 seconds of gonna take you for a ride onto the Wiki Weekends YouTube channel. So what we'll do is at the end of the video, Lucas, we'll check, did it get copyright struck?
Mm-hmm. And at the end, chat, remind me to post the Smash Bros. Posters link as well, because like we did forget to do that in the break.
Yes.
But yeah, the game Marvel vs. Capcom debuted in Japanese and North American arcades in 1998. It was then ported to the Dreamcast in 1999 and the PlayStation in 2000. And I didn't own many games for the PlayStation.
Yes.
At some point, we definitely did the totally legal thing of getting like it shipped or modded or whatever, like
the demo
so that we could just end up playing pirated games on there. And Marvel vs. Capcom was one of those where I got like this janky copy from my neighbor for a couple of quid. They just burnt onto a CD for me.
Yes.
And I played that game so many times, but obviously I was a kid and didn't treat my discs very well. Eventually got scratched up. And the amount of times I would sit there and restart my console over and over and over again to get to like the main menu of Marvel vs. Capcom, to select my characters, for it to freeze on the loading screen, start the process again. Yeah. And I loved the game so much, but my copy was so broken that I'd just sit there for like potentially like an hour trying to play one game. And it was worth it. Like, man,
what a game.
What a goddamn video game.
One of my favourite things about the game is that you had like X-Men versus Street Fighter, which is like a genius idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still mad that Marvel vs. Capcom is dead. And I'm hoping that either we get Marvel vs. Capcom 4 as a result of like the interest in this series or this re-release, or potentially Capcom vs. Capcom. Ultimately, what I want Capcom versus Capcom, so that way they don't have to deal with any rights issues. But one of my favorite things about the making of number 2, which I think had the biggest roster of any like fighting game. Also, my hair's a mess at the moment. What's going on? And it had like 70 characters. And one of my favorite things about the making of that game is when Capcom got given the Marvel Bible, they just pick characters based on the character looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where it's clearly like, okay, the MCU is a popular thing, put these characters in. Like, put Black Panther in as DLC.
Yeah.
Whereas MVC2 and stuff had, and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well. It's like Shu McGrath, put him in because he looks weird.
Well, I think there were certain ones, like Shu McGrath, yeah, I was right in saying that Shu McGrath was actually put in Marvel Superheroes vs. Capcom.
Yeah, and they put him in just because he looked weird.
Like,
they just were going through the Marvel Bible. Yeah, they were just going through the Marvel Bible and just went, who's this weird tentacle man? Like, he looks awesome. That'd be an interesting character. Like, model.
You would
That'd be a
think
challenge for us to make. Put him in.
that it'd be, you know, the classics of just like, well, who's in Marvel superheroes now that we've got not just X-Men? We can do Marvel superheroes versus Capcom. Like, oh, reuse some of the X-Men and put, like, you know, the Avengers in it, right?
Yeah, that's what you'd think, right?
That's
But
what
they
you
were
would
like,
think.
no.
And
Obviously, put Captain America in, put Iron Man in, then War Machine.
No.
Oh, is this the...
In Marvel
This is the Marvel.
superheroes, the earlier
Okay,
one, the Marvel characters are Armor Spider-Man, Blackheart, Captain America.
Blackheart.
Yeah, Blackheart's in there. You got Captain America, Cyclops, Hulk. They make sense. Spider-Man's in there, Wolverine's in there. Fair enough. They also have like Mephisto, Omega Red, Shuma Garath, US Agent. Like they would.
They're not
like
top tier picks, but the fact they put them in made them interesting.
And obviously,
like, people
US
end up liking
Agent.
those characters. Yeah, it's just Captain America.
He's just Captain America, but like US Agent and Armor Spider-Man are just probably reskin purposes. But the fact that like Blackheart and Shuma Garath and Mephisto are in there, like those are not the first people that you would pick.
But the fact that they pick them makes them more interesting. So I think the best example of this for more modern games in this series is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where they said, oh yeah, just one of the characters we're putting in it, we're going to put Ghost Rider. Okay, Ghost Rider's pretty popular. And Rocket Raccoon. People at home probably think, well, Rocket Raccoon's a popular character. This is before Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
No one knew the fuck Rocket Raccoon was. Like, who the hell's Rocket Raccoon? It's like, well, we're putting him in. And Rocket Raccoon in that game is hilarious, because he's just this tall, and all he does is fire laser beams and like throw traps, and he's got the best lines because they made him for some reason like Cockney. They made the raccoon Cockney.
What, am I remembering rightly saying that Rocket Raccoon in that was voiced by Nolan North?
I think so. I think Nolan North voiced a bunch of people. They also put Nova in, and no one knew who the fuck Nova was.
Yeah. Like no one still knows who Nova is because they put the Nova core into the MCU, but not Nova.
Yeah, not Dick Ryder. And that's the thing, the fact they put just Rocket Raccoon in. And people are asking, like, who the fuck's Rocket Raccoon? It's like, well, you like him now, right? Are you not interested to know more about the character now that he's appeared in Marvel vs. Capcom?
He's a sassy tech raccoon that's going to blow you the fuck up. Are you...
Just always lines. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Just like I said, this made him just give him this weird British accent for no reason.
And just, a couple of, like, excellent picks. And then I don't think there was one person putting Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite on the Marvel side that wasn't just part of the MCU already.
Venom. Because Venom was so popular, they had to put Venom.
Okay.
Venom was DLC.
Venom. Yeah.
But they put the Winter Soldier in. And the only thing I like about the Winter Soldier, he has like a big armoured punch where he puts his arm in front of him. I went, that should have been anyone else. That should have been Nero.
Okay, but they've already got a better version of that in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with Spencer.
Yeah.
Because his arm is big and metal, but it's retractable.
I still think as well, with Spencer, like, no one knew who Spencer was. Like, they used the redesign from, like, the ill-fated
like,
reboot.
Stupid-looking goober that was, like, the awful reboot where his wife was his arm.
Yeah, and he's got, like, the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
But, Lucas, everyone remembers Bionic.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone remembers Bionic Arm. Everyone remembers just, like, you know, grappling hooking ass.
And that's just why I love Marvel vs. Capcom, because it just not only is an excellent fighting game, but as a kid, I don't know who most of these characters are, but this is bright and colourful and sounds great and looks great and just it's just endorphins, right? Like,
well, I've got a question for you, Lucas, right? Of all the Marvel vs. Capcom games, who's your favourite? Like,
who's my favourite?
In those games, yeah. Who do you think is realised the best? Ooh. I'm a big fan of the way Wesker's realised in those games. Where Wesker is just, there's something about just like how effortlessly he beats your ass down. I mean, like the fact that Wesker has a counter where he just holds his hand in front of you and is just like, now then.
Another, I think, excellent translation is Strider. Strider's always so satisfying to play.
Ting, 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 ting.
And just like the cartwheel flips that they do and stuff, just it just feels like they ripped them out of the Strider video game.
It feels like because when you play like that Strider Hero game, and just, as well, the noise is perfect. You have like the noise on his gauntlet, like the ting 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 ting.
Mm-hmm.
But also the fact it's like, okay, what does this special move do? Energy Tiger, roar, roar, roar.
Just send out cyber animals at people.
Just send out a wave, which is just like Legion. Just sends out an army of cyber tigers. It's like,
and that's the thing.
It's so good.
When I originally played Marvel vs. Capcom games, I had no clue Strider was, but he was cool, and he had like fucking cyber animals to send at people and a really cool sounding sword.
Do you know my favorite thing about Strider? Do you know like his cape? He has like the ninja cape, right?
The scarf, yeah.
Do you know like the canon explanation for his like ninja scarf?
No?
It's that the mask that he's wearing, it like contains like soul energy. But he has so much soul energy, it overflows and looks like the cape. And it's like, oh. And then he just points at you, it just sends out energy tigers. And like the energy eagle that carries a single bomb.
Mm-hmm. And that's just the epitome of cool, right?
It's literally his windscreen, he just stands on the tiger and leaves. There's so many, right? Well, voice lines. We can't not talk about Marvel vs. Capcom, not talk about Doctor Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's not the definitive Doom portrayal. Like, Robert Downey Jr., I'm going to be watching that Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom and be like, when's the foot dive coming?
Yeah, right. Just the fact that he enters from stage right, just on flying throne.
On a flying throne, and just his quotes as well, like, you are beneath me, and it shows. His ultimate is just, he sits on his throne and just presses a button that kills you. And like again, foot dive, where they put that into Fortnite. Have you seen?
Oh no!
They put foot dive into Fortnite, and it caused a nuclear explosion. That's what dogs do, right? Just foot dive.
That's the thing. It's the fact that he like crosses his arms and looks like he's going on a fucking water slide, just like tilts backwards and just foot dives all the way in.
Because he's Doctor Doom.
He's fucking Doctor Doom.
It's so good, and they're just. Every character I was like, because one thing I absolutely adore about fighting games, and especially like, you know, the more sillier anime inspired fighting games. Mm-hmm. So, and what I mean by anime, there's anime fighters, like you have Dragon Ball Fighters and the Blaze Blue games and Guilty Gear and all that. A trend of them is to shout out your attack.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, you have that in Street Fighters, I like the Shoryuken and stuff like that, but just Marvel vs. Capcom, they give all the Marvel heroes their own like version of a Shoryuken or a Hadouken.
Yeah, like Maximum Spider.
Yeah, which is in it, Josh Keaton fucking nails it when he's Spider-Man. He's my favourite Spider-Man because how much of a little shit he sounds like.
Yeah.
When he's like, loser! And he's like, oh.
And just Berserker Barrage. Berserker Barrage.
Wolverine's voices are so good in that game because just Wolverine, just when his voice lines overlap with each other.
Yeah.
But just his Berserker Barrage. And the fact that Wolverine, he fights from a fully crouched position, so he's like tiny, and he fights like a feral animal.
Yeah, both him and Spider-Man have such good poses.
Yeah, like such good A poses.
Yeah, and then you've obviously can't not mention Captain America, Stars and Stripes.
Oh, it's more the fact that man is America.
Yeah.
He's so America.
He's so America that when he does Charging Star, like basically an American flag appears behind him.
Yeah. So Charging Star is when Captain America... She might think, what's Captain America going to do against the Hulk? He's going to fucking America his way through.
Mm-hmm.
And he just charges forward with a shield, and just the American flag and eagle start exploding out of him. Because he's just America.
I adore the Marvel vs. Capcom series, and I do hope that it's not just this fighting collection that we're getting. I hope that we are getting a Marvel vs. Capcom 4, because we never got one after 3. It's been so long.
Infinite is terrible. Like, it had some interesting things like instead of having 3 characters, you have 2 characters and an Infinity Stone. That was interesting. It was just too slow.
Interesting ideas gameplay wise in there, but like the characters weren't as interesting just because, as we said, it felt so tied to like the MCU that they weren't allowed to have fucking X-Men in there. It's like,
yeah,
this is a franchise that started with X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Like, you know, it didn't have Wolverine, it didn't have Swagnito.
Yeah,
just the fact there's no Magneto. Because Magneto is so iconic in those games.
No Iceman.
Like, Iceman was like big in MVC2, but I just think Magneto, especially in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, just how fucking just swaggy Magneto is.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it, like again, just how effortlessly cool all of his movement looks of just like the gravity squeeze, where he just like crumples all the metal around you, and it's just the because Magneto has such a good history in games.
And that's another thing. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite just lost all of the flair. Like, it looked so bad and boring.
As the kids would say, it had no sauce.
It didn't. It had
like,
zero.
They had zero sauce. Like the fact that they took away Spider-Man's Maximum Spider.
Yeah.
They took away Maximum Spider, Lucas.
Just I feel no joy playing Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which is why I just refuse to actually admit that it exists. Just like get us Marvel vs. Capcom 4, reset the timeline, make things good again.
How hype it was as well. And let's go on. Tell me more about the series.
Well, players select a team of characters from the Marvel vs. Capcom universes to engage in combat and attempt to knock out their opponents. Unlike the series' previous entry, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, the game features characters from numerous Capcom video game franchises rather than strictly Street Fighter characters. And that's where...
Any favourite Capcom inclusions?
Well,
we mentioned like Spencer and his alternate costume, like Rad Spencer.
The thing is, I don't in terms of knowing them beforehand, but all of a sudden when it's oh my god, who's this Captain Commando guy? Who's this?
Well, they made him up for the game, right?
Did they?
I think Captain Commando was made up for the game.
Captain Commando is a 1991 futuristic side-scrolling beat-em-up originally developed and published by Capcom.
Oh, okay, but he was like Capcom's mascot, right? Captain Commando, Capcom.
I mean, maybe, but he was a failed mascot if that was the attempt.
He ended up becoming like famous, at least in like the spheres of gaming, because in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, he's broken as fuck. 'Cause he has the Captain's Corridor.
Oh yeah.
His assist, so the assist is when your main fighter calls in their teammate and they do a move that helps them. Like the Captain Commando assist was he punches the ground and sends a big explosion. Well, the explosion went infinitely high.
It was impossible to dodge. Yeah,
it stopped all approaches from your opponent. Like, no, if they were 400 feet into the air, it still stopped them. So it became known as the Captain Corridor because it just puts like a straight up just line down the screen you can't move past.
And yeah, I also like the guy Jin from Cyberbots, apparently. Again, I still don't really know who Jin is, but I liked playing him because he brought down the giant Cyberbot metal fist.
Which was super fucking rad, yeah. I think, was Ruby Hart a Capcom character? So I like Ruby Hart as well.
So Ruby Hart, I believe, was an original character for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. They were rad as fuck.
Yeah, cause she was like the Little Red Riding Hood one, right? No, Ruby Hart was the...
No, Ruby Hart was the cool pirate lady.
The pirate lady, and then you had the Red Hood or something, right? Was she original?
I think it was just Red Riding Hood, right?
And she was like Little Red Riding Hood, but she had an Uzi.
She just had an Uzi in a basket
and she like kicked like grenades out of a basket, right?
Yeah. And obviously, oh, I don't know. It says 2 different Morrigans here, but obviously
you had Morrigan and then her reskin, which was like a different character.
Oh, Lilith Morrigan, which is just a reskin. Okay, that's why it doesn't explain who the second Morrigan was. But yeah, just no one that I knew who Morrigan was, but we all knew what Morrigan and Darkstalkers was after playing that game.
Yeah.
Let's just say that much. You're like Morrigan, and then obviously like other characters like Felicia in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It was just, I don't know what Darkstalkers is, but all of a sudden I want to know what Darkstalkers is.
It's as well the fact that Morrigan sprite became infamous because they never changed it. They kept that same crappy Morrigan sprite for years. And I love it. I love how bad it was.
And again, I mentioned like I didn't know who Strider was at the time, but again, I just saw a cool ninja with a cool sword and a cool scarf. I just
like his voice lines as well. Like the voice actors in that game fucking nailed it. Of like when he does like Ragnarok, it's like Ragnarok.
Yeah,
just like.
That's
it's like I would say I would be a voice actor, but I'd only want to do that kind of role. I won't want to do an entire character. I want to do like efforts and shouting out my attack names. That's all I want to do.
So, Karl.
Yes.
If there was a new Marvel vs. Capcom game, and they came to you and they were like, we want you to voice a character, and it can be any character in Marvel or Capcom that you're going to do the voice lines for, who would you pick?
Okay, so I wouldn't want to do any of the classics because I just think you're not going to replace Captain America. You're not going to replace like Josh Keaton as Spider-Man or Steve Bloom as Wolverine, they're always going to pick them. So I think it'd have to be like some goober from like Marvel's depths that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah, right.
Like, I think of all the famous ones, I could maybe do Venom because I think they'd probably put a lot of like reverb and effects on your voice anyway. So all you need to do is just be like, we are Venom or something like that, right?
Just do your favorite Tom Hardy impression.
Yeah, I think though I'd want to do like Green Goblin.
Ooh, that'd be a cool pick, yeah.
Because I'd want to do like, but I'd want to do like shitty, sneery Green Goblin, like, wah!
Proper
like,
90s cartoon, yeah.
Yeah, I'd really want to like play up like how theatrical the Green Goblin is. Like, do you like Willem Dafoe Green Goblin? Like I said, like, out am I? Back to formula. From the Capcom side, I think I'd want to do Special Agent Hunk because he never talks. He only has efforts, so I think I'd want to do his efforts just so I could have my voice that's in credit as Karl Smallwood Hunk.
I'd kind of want to do the one singular effort of Chris Redfield doing the boulder punch.
Nope. I know what Krauser because I want to do is when he does like the stinger with his arm. Yeah, Krauser's yell when he does like the stinger with his arm.
Sad thing, right, is that I love the idea that Leon Kennedy is a cool character because I love RE2 and RE4. He's not a very cool character. He's a pretty square dude.
Yeah,
like that's always been his portrayal. Actually, is like he has the dumb, cheesy voice lines in RE4 a bit.
But that's not how he is in Japanese, right?
But yeah, that's just like...
He's a bit more stoic in Japanese because he's like a typical hero character.
Yeah, he's played quite straight, and he is a bit boring, but I would love to do like a dumb, goofy version of Leon.
Just with his lines of like your right hand comes off.
Nighty night.
Oh, he's so good. They put that bit in RE4 remake, and he'd be a good character to put in. It'd be a fun character to put in.
Has Leon Kennedy ever been in an MVC game?
No, they put Jill in.
So Jill was in Jill MVC and Chris.
Yeah, Jill's in MVC2, and I really like because they have my favorite Jill design with the beret.
The beret design is, I mean, it's a million times better than what we got because we got RE5 Jill in MVC3.
Well, I do like for that one, her super move is just the last Plagueis on her chest gets overcharged, and she just starts Wesker teleporting everywhere.
Yeah.
And then Chris is in it, and I love Chris because just the fact he's just so straight-laced, but he's doing such ridiculous stuff. Like one of his throw is just he breaks your neck.
That's the thing,
just
right?
Break next to the Hulk. It's like, yeah!
I'm like, the audacity when I didn't really ever put this together. Of like, they've got Albert Wesker, they've got the Nemesis, they've got Chris Redfield, they've got Jill Valentine, and Leon fucking Kennedy has not been in a game.
Well, that's why people wanted like a new Marvel vs. Capcom. Like, when Marvel vs. Capcom came Infinite, and they put like Nemesis in, and be like, why is Nemesis in the game instead of Jack Baker from RE8? Or RE7, sorry. Put Jack Baker in and give like. Imagine how many good voice lines you'd have for him. Like, give him like doing the donut in the car.
No, Carl, put Lady D in.
Well, she'd be in a new one, right? If they made
a brand new one now, yeah.
Presumably that's the question you're going to ask next. It's like, what voice lines would you do? And then I guess we can like talk about characters we'd want to include in a potential theoretical sequel.
You talk about like you wouldn't want to do it because they've already got such a good portrayal, but I would love to have an attempt to do Spider-Man just so I could do my own version of Maximum Spider.
It's Josh Keaton is just so good at playing that dipshit version of Spider-Man, like, because the thing about Spider-Man is all his jokes are terrible, and that's like, but he delivers them with such sincerity.
It's the nerdy guy who thinks he's sounding really cool.
Yeah,
and so I'd love to do my version of that. Of just like, because that's me, right? The nerdy guy that thinks they're sounding cool. Like, I'm Spider-Man. It's fine.
Yeah, I think for mine it'd be more like the bigger characters. I could probably do like Nemesis. Because I know that is a very difficult skill, but I feel like it's probably something I could maybe potentially get away with, like the stars.
Or like
I could probably do a few takes of that and it sound halfway decent.
Yeah, maybe I could do I could probably naturally do an okay Groot, just because like actually my voice is, if I just go
you have
by
a
my normal
natural
voice,
timbre to your voice, yeah, that suits
it's
that character.
Quite low in general. But yeah, like I generally try for videos to like speak up a little bit.
You affect a higher register.
And try to remember to, like, that's the thing I've actively got to remember to. Whereas if I just talk, like I would in a normal conversation, it's a bit more down here.
Yeah, and if I talk like I was in a normal conversation, mine sounds awful because I have my voice pitches up because I used to have a stutter. So the way I deal with a stutter is I have a rolling cadence to my pronunciations, which causes me to every couple of seconds have a rising inflection, which is very noticeable if I try and talk naturally. So I have to affect a cadence that is unnatural, so I don't find myself doing that inadvertently.
But yeah, that is just a good other question. I'll go through just the full roster because it's obviously the first game, quite a small roster considered. MVC2 had like the just giant screen full of "You're gonna take me for a ride."
Absolutely,
it's quite a condensed character list in comparison. So we have the Marvel characters of Captain America, Gambit, High Speed Venom, Hulk.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. High Speed Venom.
That's like when they had like, what is it, like Mecha Zangief, right? Just Zangief, but he's robot Zangief.
They had robot Zangief.
Yeah, fuck you. Beat him.
God. Yeah, like you have Hulk and Hulk the Marvel superheroes version.
Yep.
You have Hyper Armor War Machine and War Machine, and then Spider-Man, Venom, and Wolverine.
Just what a clever reskin as well, because that's what I like it when in those games they do a reskin of like, well, War Machine is just Iron Man, so just give him like 2 or 3 new moves, it's a new character. Done. Just like change like the properties on a couple of his moves, like change the frame rate on this, make this do slightly less damage, this one do more. Done, new character.
Yeah, and obviously it's a fighting game classic thing, isn't it? Of just the Ryu and Ken.
Yep.
They're mostly the same, but there's a couple of little differences.
And as time has gone on, those differences have become more pronounced. But for Ryu and Ken, it was like they initially were just the same character with the same moves. But then it was like, okay, Ryu throws better fireballs, Ken does better Shoryukens.
And then on the Capcom character side, we have Captain Commando, Chun-Li, Jin Saotome from Cyberbots, but I don't know how to pronounce the last name. You got Mega Man, Morrigan Ainsland? I'm not sure. Then you got Morrigan Lilith version. You got Roll, Ryu, Shadow Lady.
Yeah, which is like evil Chun-Li.
Ah, right, okay. That's why I don't recognize that. And then Strider Hiryu and Zangief. And the Roll thing, it always throws me off because Roll is such a bad sounding name in the context of Mega Man. Like, what do you mean she's just called Roll? But then it makes so much sense when in Japanese it's Rockman, and all of them are music associated names. It's Rock and Roll. You've got characters like Bass and things like that, and just a lot of the names are just different, like musical puns and stuff. But Mega Man and Roll just sounds so shit in comparison.
Yeah, they could have called like Hyper Lady or something. But you know what? We know now.
We know now, but it just always was just like, what a baffling name, Roll. It just sounds so bad compared to Mega Man, and then it makes so much sense when the context is, well, it's Rockman and Roll, so Rock and Roll.
But yeah, it's a pretty eclectic and stacked cast.
Yeah, it is, and it's not a massive cast, but I guess that the only reason we look back and think, oh, that's a pretty small cast of characters is because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 just exploded the roster.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like repeats on like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like they have Wolverine and Bone Claws Wolverine. And it's the same character. I think he just has like slightly less health or something,
and a slightly different color set on the armor, and he's got Bone Claws.
Well, the fact they put him in, they thought we're still going to put him in because you know what? Someone out there prefers Bone Claws Wolverine's regular Wolverine.
Oh, and then of course, the game features 20 special partner characters drawn from both universes that can be called for during battle for support.
And this is where the assist system came in.
And this is where the assists were. So this is why I remember there being more characters.
Yes.
Because partner characters from Marvel include Colossus, Cyclops, Iceman, Jubilee, Juggernaut, Magneto, Psylocke, Rogue, Sentinel, Storm, Thor, and US Agent. And then
And
the
a lot of them
Capcom-
actually became characters in their own right.
They
Like,
did,
almost
yes.
every single one of them eventually became like a character in one of the later games.
And
just imagine as
presumably
well-
because they already had the assets, right?
Yeah. But just imagine just rocking up to a fight and it's like, who's backing you up? Ryu, my mate Juggernaut. Who have you got? I've got US Agent. You pick Paulie.
And I do find it funny because obviously they have to clarify like what each person is, like what game each person on the Capcom side is from. But it just makes it look like they're all jobbers that nobody knows.
Yes.
But the Capcom side includes Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, Anita from Darkstalkers, Shadow from Street Fighter. I don't know who Shadow from Street Fighter is, but okay.
One of like the Shadaloo members.
Right. Devilot from Cyberbots, Lou from Three Wonders, Michelle Hart from Legendary Wings, Pure and Fur from Adventure Quiz Capcom World 2, of course.
I love when they put characters like that in. We don't know who they are, but someone out there gets mad hype when they see them turn up, and it's for them. It's for that person.
It is, yeah. I love those picks so much. Tonpu from Strider, The Unknown Soldier from Forgotten Worlds, and Sake Omokane from Quiz Nanero Dreams. Cool, yeah, sure. Again, just another one of those picks that someone's popping off for that.
Yeah, I think someone pops off for that character. It's like when Rocket Raccoon turned up in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Someone got mad hype 'cause Rocket Raccoon's there. And eventually he became one of my favourite characters to play. And I just used to love when he calls like the airstrike. It's like, airstrike, suck ass! And it's like, yes! Cock me a raccoon, let's go!
Yeah, and that's the thing. I often found myself playing a lot of these Capcom characters that I had no clue who they were, more than the Marvel characters that I knew, just because these all got cool movesets, they all look cool, they just... I mean, the game's so beautiful in general, right? Like,
just the sprites will never age, right?
And
that's
I was going to say, I think, I don't definitively say, I think maybe I could make a better statement on this when, like, the new collection comes out and I can replay them properly, but in my head, I think the first Marvel vs. Capcom game absolutely looks better than Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because the backgrounds are also sprites.
Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 introduced 3D backgrounds, but the sprites still look good, but they clash very heavily with the... And presumably they've remastered the 3D backgrounds, which probably look really clean, but that'll just make them clash so much more because they're too clean. But it will make like the new, like the up model, the up-res sprites look cleaner. But I do agree with you there. Like, just pure sprites means there's more cohesion to the look.
So I'm not definitively saying, but in my brain, I'm like, oh no, yeah, the first one looks better. And is maybe still the best looking out of the MVC games.
Apart from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, though, is close because it has the comic book effect. And like when characters like do their super moves and they rip through the world, that looks really fucking cool.
That game looks really good in motion, but not
in motion it's flawless.
Yeah. Whereas
everything is so smooth.
When you actually pause and look at all the character models, they're not all the best looking.
But they just look so good in motion. Like Nemesis level 1, where he just like punches across the screen and just like every punch rips apart like comic pages being ripped away and you see what's underneath.
Exactly.
They really stuck to the theme of it being like a comic book fight come to life.
Like all the extra added effects and details that they put in there in motion made the game look stunning to this day.
Yes.
Some of the backgrounds are not great to fight on. We would always find ourselves using like 2 stages because most of them just there's so much going on.
Like Trombone Wonderland, which is just pure white, so you can see very easy to see the characters nice and clear against it.
Yeah, but all of them look better than Infinite, which is the newest one, which should look the nicest.
It looks terrible.
Yeah. But yeah,
it even looks bad from the moment you boot it up because they never finished the DLC because the game bombed so hard. So they don't have an even number of Marvel and Capcom characters. So this character select screens are uneven.
That's one thing I will say that I'm so happy that if you put the Smash Bros. Character select screen to have Echo Fighters sit in the same box as the regular fighters,
it's perfectly even, right?
It's a perfectly squared off rectangle, and it looks so clean. I mean, unless next version of Smash Bros. Is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Deluxe or something that adds even more characters, that final character select screen is always going to just be clean and boxed off.
Yep. And they up Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite because they cut the DLC plans in like halfway through making it. Just they don't have an even number of reps from either side. And I guess to end on Lucas, if they made a theoretical Marvel vs. Capcom 4, who do you think should be in it? 'Cause from the Capcom side, right away, Nero. Where's Nero?
Yeah.
If we're going to put a Devil May Cry rep in there, it's got to be Nero. He's the future of the franchise, and the fact he's not in it is ridiculous.
Obviously, my pick I mentioned earlier, Leon fucking Kennedy.
Leon Kennedy would be fantastic, yes. And from Resident Evil, either Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield.
Yeah, I'd also like to see Claire.
And villain-wise, I wouldn't want to see any of the villains from like RE8.
Oh, I'd love to see Lady D.
If they put Lady D in and made like as big as Nemesis was.
Yeah.
And gave like the transforming powers of like the giant claws, I could see a moveset being made there. Even she had like assists from her daughters.
Oh,
I could see her working with the character.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Just like the Moth ladies come in.
Yeah, I could see, or alternately, I could see, like I said, Jack Baker working like as the mold powers, and make his powers like him transforming into like the weird swamp man as like an install or something.
And that is the thing. Just when you think about, man, Resident Evil is of varying quality between the games and different parts of the games and stuff, but they go so hard on the villains. Like, I can't think of
Heisenberg. He's just Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I can't think of many franchises that have consistently had as good a villain set as Resident Evil keeps making.
Just Wesker. He's like, I love Wesker because DC Douglas is like just this. He's such an asshole-ish quality that he gives to Wesker. Of like, even in like Marvel vs. Capcom, like the game where they just give him a couple of random voice lines where he talks about like his like sunglasses, where he's just like, "Oh yes, my sunglasses are custom made. Your new god deserves only the best." It's like, fuck off, Wesker.
Just
all the fact he's torn, he's putting his sunglasses back on.
Say what you will about Resident Evil 5, the portrayal of Wesker in that game is fantastic.
It absolutely is because he's such a villain. I love it. Alternately, from Resident Evil, if they wanted to put a joke character in, the Merchant, and give him every gun. Give him every gun.
Yeah.
Or he could be an assist. Like, if they decided to go the other route and put assists in, and have like random characters, like the Merchant would be such a good assist to have him. Like, so welcome, and you like get a health boost from him or something like that.
And even if it is a kind of Echo character equivalent, I would like to kind of see Miles Edgeworth put in from the Ace Attorney games because he's Phoenix Wright, but with just the most amount of swagger.
There we go. And like Frank West, I would love to see Chuck Green. If they want to like put Joe Dead Rising route again, like put Chuck Green in instead.
No, just put Chuck Green's zombie daughter in.
Using his daughter as a weapon. Because that's he could like use like the Tiger as an assist, right? It never made any sense to me they gave Frank West the combo weapons.
Yeah.
Put Chuck Green and double down on that.
But obviously, I don't know the time of release, but it kind of makes sense because they did make an alternate version of Dead Rising 2 where it was Frank in it anyway.
Yeah. But like from the Capcom side again, like put Virgil in, what gave him his DMC5 moveset, same for Dante.
Do you not want V in there?
I think you could make V work. He'd probably work better in that game.
Like probably work better in that game than in DMC.
Or Lady. Yeah. I'd love to see Lady realised. Like just entirely goes in a moveset entirely from shooting guns.
Oh man. If they go down the route of bringing in assist-only characters, you could just have, I can't remember the name of the mechanic lady.
Nico with a truck, and she could run him over with
just
the truck.
Come in with the truck and run someone over.
Run him over in the truck, yeah.
Oh yeah, and then any like Marvel picks that you can think of?
I just want the more obscure ones. Like I said, when they said, "Who's this Hugh McGrath motherfucker? Put this weird squid man in." Like we've covered so many weird obscure characters, like what Bloody Mary, put her in.
Yeah, and obviously
Bloody Mary and put the Venom kids.
It would be
the Shocker.
Very fun to just see Squirrel Girl as the obvious answer.
Make her an assist, yeah. Well, she could be like Saitama in that One Punch Man fighting game, where you've got to like survive for like 3 minutes in calling as an assist, and she just wins.
Because that is one of the best mechanics in a bad game.
Yep.
Is if anyone doesn't know, there's like a One Punch Man fighting game where you can pick One Punch Man to be part of your team. He doesn't actually fight on your team. It's just there is like a timer for Saitama to come in, so your opponent has to beat you before One Punch Man arrives, and that's what his equivalent of a health bar is.
Yeah, so you fight one man down, 'cause it's like a 3-on-3 fighter, and you have a meter at the bottom that is Saitama is on his way. And the worse you do, like if you beat your opponent really hard, Saitama is more likely to arrive.
Yeah,
and like if your opponent does like a super attack, it can like make Saitama run into trouble on the way. And just the entire time you're waiting, he's just in the corner running towards the fight. You can do it with Squirrel Girl.
Little Saitama on the bottom, just like he's on his way.
And when he arrives, you win because he's unbeatable. Like, he wins. You think he's got a full move set as well, but his move set just wins. And they can do it with Squirrel Girl because Squirrel Girl's the gimmick she has in Marvel is that she beats everyone without trying. She could be a great assist character to have and like put a similar gimmick to that in. Like Dark Phoenix is basically a win if you get the right conditions up.
Yeah.
Just have that of, hey, if you make like the Dragon Balls or something in Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah.
Like if you fulfill the conditions to get Squirrel Girl activated, you just win the fight.
Yeah.
You might say that sounds broken, but they've got systems like that in other fighting games, and it can be balanced.
It can be, and yeah, I would love to see, as you say, random characters that I don't know as well, because ultimately, some of my favorite characters that are in each of these Marvel vs. Capcom games are characters I didn't know even existed until I picked up the game.
Yes, and I'd just love to see as well, like, just some of the reps that haven't been repped yet. Like, there's members of the X-Men. Beast. Where's Beast?
Yeah.
Beast could be a fun fighter, make him like a grappler. I think Beast could work, and he's not been in any of the games yet, which feels weird considering like he's one of the core X-Men. Similarly, Angel. I think Angel could work. Be a bit boring, but just the fact that they've not been in the game yet. I reckon they could work. Like you mentioned Jubilee as an assist. I think Jubilee could work.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Psylocke used to be in one of the games, so put Jubilee in instead.
Yeah, there's obviously, especially on the Marvel side, there's so many characters.
Like, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales.
Yeah, just alternate Spider-Man and stuff.
Like, just make them a team. They could do that as well, like, do a 3v3, but you have to pick just all the Spider-Man. So when you pick Miles Morales, you don't pick your two teammates, you just get, like, the Into the Spider-Verse teammates, and it randomizes your teammates. There's so many fun gimmicks you could do as well, with different characters. Because the Marvel vs. Capcom games were never afraid to do gimmicks. With characters like Jill Valentine doesn't really attack, she throws enemies at you. Or like Servbot is like this big on the screen and only fights by sending in more Servbots.
Yeah. Low tier hero right there.
And in that vein, is there any like characters you think could have a good gimmick?
I'd be interested only because like I'm not really aware of the character, but that like the Marvel Rivals character they just announced recently of like Jeff the Land Shark.
Oh yeah, he's like become like an unofficial mascot for a lot of games.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see them come up with a gimmick character based around tiny little cute land shark.
Yeah, and I would like to see them as well. Potentially, if they brought it back, bring back giant characters. Remember, like Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, you could play as like giant Golden Lightam, who's like 800 feet tall, or you could play as like the giant enemy robot from Lost Planet.
Right. Okay.
And you instead of picking 3 characters, you just pick one giant character.
Oh, that's cool.
I would love to see that gimmick brought back with, like, say, Galactus. Or alternately, if you've seen like
Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah, like in Mugen, they sometimes have characters that are the entire stage. So, like, maybe if you pick Ego the Planet, you play as the stage. Which, it sounds silly, but I reckon if you made it work and you balanced it correctly, that could be fun. Because I know in, like, the Mugen games, which we've got to cover it at some point, like Salty Bets, there's, like, a character Alien Queen. And you don't play as the Alien Queen, you just play as the stage. And when you run out of aliens, you lose.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
I reckon they could do something like that with like Ego the Living Planet or Galactus or the Silver Surfer. Bring him in and give him the gimmick of like you've got to get if he loses his surfboard, he loses his powers. There's so much stuff you could like Nero, give him like the breaker system.
Yeah.
Of having to like get new arms midway through the fight. You have to like get Nico to throw you an arm.
Yeah.
Midway through the fight, and it changes your fighting style.
It could kind of be similar where like Phoenix Wright, the Ace Attorney character, where just you have to go looking for clues on the ground. You could be looking around for like new Devil Breakers.
Yeah, I'd also love as well from bringing installs back. Installs, people don't know, is when like it's named after like Kai Siski in Guilty Gear. It's like the dragon install, where it's just where your character gets powered up and gets a new form. I love installs. Like Wolverine with his like Berserker Rage, where he gets faster, or like who else has an install in that game? Like Firebrand has one, Arthur has one. The idea of transforming your character midway through a fight and getting a new character essentially. So you have to
like
learn
Phoenix turning into Dark Phoenix, for
Phoenix,
example. Yeah.
I'd love to see more stuff like that. Or like
Mhm.
maybe a version of like, I don't know, Venom. Where maybe it's like a version of Venom where you can knock him out of Venom and you got to fight Eddie Brock.
Yeah, and there could also be, for example, like if you put Ghost Spider in, Spider-Gwen, like you could then have characters like that where they become Gwenom.
Yes.
Like they just get a symbiote attached to them and power up, kind of thing.
They
Or
do
like
turn
into symbiote Spider-Man.
Yeah, in like Smash Bros, they had Samus and Zero Suit Samus, where you do your super and you turn to Zero Suit Samus, and now you got to play a different character.
Yeah,
I love like characters like that, or characters who play as two characters at once.
Yeah, Ice Climbers.
Like Ice Climbers. I would love to see like a characters fight as a pair.
Yeah, there's so much that they could do with it, and I am very excited to get the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighters collection. I'm really tempted to like wait and get the physical edition and just it's like, but can I wait like the extra month or so before I get taken on a ride?
It looks so fun. But yes, excited.
Very
And let us
excited.
know, folks at home, if you're still listening, just go tell us what character you'd want in a theoretical Marvel vs. Capcom 4 and any ideas you've got for the moveset. So you can see it in your head. The Leon, you can immediately see in your head, well, his back throw is going to be the fucking suplex. Right?
Yeah.
He's going to have a dodge where he does the backflip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's going to pull the rocket launcher out. El Gigante is going to come in for like one of the moves and like grab your opponent and then he shoots with a rocket launcher.
That'd be
right.
Fun. Yeah. And just I just
his move like Del Lago comes out of the lake and grabs the opponent, and then Leon just like shoots, throws harpoons at it. There's so much stuff you could put in, right?
I'm just sitting there thinking about it. I'm just itching now to go play Mortal Kombat vs. Capcom. But
so good.
Karl, you did a little test for us. Have you got any results yet?
Yes. So I did upload a 10-second clip of the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade select music of I'll Take You for a Ride. I uploaded it. It's 11 seconds long. It's simply titled Test. It has not been demonetized.
Okay.
So you could have made this a regular video, but the discussion would have been a lot shorter, but there'd been a lot more clips in.
I mean, true. But yeah.
Yes, that did not get demonetized or copyright struck, but I'll delete it now because otherwise it'll just be in our video archives and it'll throw us off.
Yeah, and I'm just grabbing that link for just like the Etsy page that we earlier.
Now we have to go buy them, right? And when they arrive in the future, we're going to have like, hey, this is what we bought with the money we made from the super chat. So thank you to everyone who did that. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, it is always appreciated. I'm just gonna get up like a picture of one of the posters so that people can see. So if you could just while I'm trying to do this.
Well, mine's gonna be like the one that I want to get is obviously the Ridley one with the skewer.
Okay, so I'll get that one up to show people.
It's the best one, right? Of like you were at a bris, the Moyle's got a knife. That's me. I love me some Ridley. He's right there on my arm. He's just chilling. He's like,
let me find Ridley then.
Ridley's the best, little Riddles. Because he's such a dickhead. Speaking of dickheads, I think I could do the voice acting for Ridley. Just like the scrawl. I reckon I could do that. I get over how good that fucking
file.
Just copy paste. I get a lot of those when I'm editing. Copy paste it into Paint and save it as a PNG.
I've got an extension on Chrome that just like saves JPEG instead.
Oh man, whoever invented like WebP, whatever the fuck it is, can like eat my ass with a spoon.
It just doesn't work with anything.
It doesn't stop you getting the image. It just makes it more annoying to grab. So I'm not trying to steal it for copyright reasons. I want to put it in the background of my video for 4 seconds for context.
So just for anyone wondering, like that was the thing that I'm like pestering Karl of like, hey, let's go buy a poster.
So there's like one of these for every character in Smash Bros. And me, you, and a mutual friend are like, oh, if we all get our favorite characters and then we can have them on our walls. I've got like my wall up here with like my Terminator poster. Oh no, my camera got unplugged.
Frozen.
My back.
There we go. Yeah, you look like you're back now. You're a bit choppy.
know what would be easier if I just take it off the wall, right?
Yeah.
Terminator. Or like, in the background, I've got like my Spider-Man and my Final Fantasy VIII.
Mm-hmm.
I love collecting random artwork and paintings and things.
So yeah,
that'll be a pride of place in my collection of just Ridley going a dick stab.
it is. Just get that link. So yeah, that's just shout out to like someone on Etsy called Victory Lap Graphics, and yeah, the fact that we've mentioned it multiple times, I just want to give the artist a bit of credit and just show off their work a little bit, and I'm like,
yeah,
hell goddamn yeah, let's go get a couple of Smash Bros posters. So thank you all for everyone that contributed with super chats and just helped us out and supported us by just watching and listening and all that jazz.
It's very much appreciated, and we'll see you all next time.
Oh god, no. He ended before I'd got my OBS up. Let's go.